Hello, welcome. It's Trucking Answers Live. It's the live show. 1 p.m. on Monday. Boy, there's a big crowd here. Some people are in here at noon. That's incredible.
Some people are in here
That
at
what is
noon.
going
That's
on with
incredible.
that? And I have the volume. There we go. So, people that don't know, I have a screen down here that I look at, and I want to thank everybody for coming in on the Monday live show. All right. So, what is happening, man? Who was first? Mark was out there at noon. Incredible. That is incredible. Thank you, David. Yeah, he beat you here by far, right? Edgar, 24 more minutes. Right, here I am now. It's good to see everybody. Hakeem, what's up with the broker throwing you under the bus? Man. What, Marco, what's going on? Trucker Hershey, yeah, we had some heavy thunderstorms here too. You had a tornado siren there. It was crazy here. Richard, you're going to Knoxville. What happened in Milwaukee with the weather? What's happening? There was a huge storm. We just missed it here. Super happy. Kenneth Snyder, nice. Thanks for coming in today. Let's see. Everybody, as I roll down, I try to catch up. Peterbilt, hello there. 379, thank you. Jared, yes, you're early. Yes, right on time. Let's put it that way. Let's say it at that. But there were a ton of people early today. That is just great. So the huge storm went by. I did want to talk about Kansas, which is really inspecting owner operators and older trucks, which I thought was really interesting. And I got a ton of emails over the weekend about parking, truck parking. So we can get into that if you want to as well. So because I had a flurry of them over the weekend for truck parking. So and whatever else is on your mind today. All right, Theo, you stuck in New Hampshire. Well, are there any loads in New Hampshire ever? Man. Al Johns, what's happening? Would I recommend CDL school? Yeah, right. Why not? Get started as a dump truck driver, get some experience, and you might stay a dump truck driver your whole life. There are people that do that and love it, so why not? So yeah, absolutely, why not? Go, sign up and let us know how the dump truck world is going. So 5 inches of heavy snow, yeah, in Michigan. Jack says, yeah, I saw it just went north of us. We stayed warm all night. It didn't get cold until this morning here in central Indiana. And really, we just had a few flurries, nothing on the ground. I hope everybody, I saw there were tons of people stuck and everything. Whenever it's getting bad, please run, check weather and stuff. Get parked early. I mean, you don't want to try to park in the middle of a blizzard because everybody's already there. So go ahead and park, in advance for sure. A Bold Venture, hello. Wild Bill Anderson is here. What's happening? John Nickerson, yes, Christmas coming. Got the lights rolling here. Kim, hey, what's going on? Thanks for coming in today. You drove through Fort Wayne. How was it? Did the snow make it over there? I didn't exactly see how far over it went. Kevin is here. Thank you. BAT Stevens, 7-month rookie. Thank you. Thanks for coming in and being a part of the channel. If there's anything I could do for you or anybody, right? Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. I do eventually get to everyone's email. So, and I work on getting to the video comments as well. So I do what I can. Anyway, Corey, thank you. Kenworth Ryder. Oh, thank you. Oh, excellent. I appreciate that. Thanks, though. I try to do what I can, as I say here. Kansas Kid. Yeah, I saw Kansas for you basically closed down. It was a total disaster. UPS freight driver. Wow. Some people have questions for you. One of them, how's it pay over there? Of course, because we talk about UPS freight all the time on the channel here. You just left Chicago. The roads are terrible. Bradley, that's awesome. What's the temperature in Chicago? 33 here in middle Indiana right now. Let's see. Colorado, Kansas, got a snit. Yeah, Marco. It was just north of here. It was a total mess. Right, total mess. Galaxy Transport the Loves is opening a new truck stop in Rochelle. You're delivering a load of lot lizards there. Okay, that's good. Do they have to be signed for, or how does that, or do you get paid by each, or how does that work? I drove through right before the snow, Kim. Oh, okay. You're here on every video. Good. Just like a stalker. Yes. I'm looking for the rabbit's head in the pot of stew on the stove. If everybody remembers that. Oh, sunny and clear in Texas. Thanks for that. For for being the downer of the channel. Wyoming was no cakewalk yet. Never is, though, right? At this time of year, Bailey. Lancer, thank you. Hey, what's going on? Justin, you're in the Bronx. Yikes. What are you doing in the Bronx? Wyoming was a mess. That's all the time in the wintertime. People need to be ready. Have your chains, your salt, your peanut butter, right? Everything that you need. You have 6 trucks running in Utah to Connecticut. Ugh. Oh, flat rate on lot listers. I was wondering about that. I was wondering about how that worked. Mad Maldy, nice. Hello, thanks for coming in. What happened to the Star Trek talk? Good in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it didn't seem like it got over there, but I guess it's going to head that way. USX owner-operator here. Nice. I'm surprised. Come in here to throw daggers at me, probably. 85 in Florida. Kenworth Rider, of course. A friend of mine lives in Tampa, and he was hamming it up down there, basically. It's sunshine for miles in Georgia. Beautiful. Dude loves in Sydney, Ohio, in the middle of December. How many spots will be over there? That'll be good. Sergeant Rock, thanks for coming in today. 78 in Florida. That stinks. Oh, you're at Hunts Point Market. Awesome. People that don't know, it's terrible. Outran the snow yesterday. Naeem says that's good. Clear skies at Vegas. That stinks. Oh, good, John. Thanks. I appreciate it. Nothing directed personally at anyone, of course. Oh, that Sterling is going the way of the dodo. Yeah, nobody drives a Sterling. I haven't seen one in many years. UPS freight for owner-operators $141.8. Not bad compared to, I'm seeing places paying, I've seen as low as 91 cents for owner-operators. So that's about horrible. Considering teams are getting 70, 75 at places as company drivers. So you should make way more than a company driver. You have all this risk involved, right? What are our thoughts on companies sending you through Wyoming during the winter but not allowing you to carry chains? Who doesn't allow you to carry chains? I'm surprised they don't provide chains. I will tell you, most places don't want you to chain, really. But, if the chain law is up, you'll be required to park, and some places require you to carry chains. So I'm very surprised about that, really. 39 all the way in Reno. The biggest little city in the world. Minnesota's cold. You're checking in at Melton Trucking. Yeah, what's going on in Melton? Let us know what's happening over there. Hunts Point sends photos of the honeys. That's got to be like one of the worst places to go in the whole country, right? Hunts Point Market. Justin's Trucking. Thanks a lot. And thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. Do I ever see a Redaway truck? Not in a long time. But that was kind of a local kind of thing, right? That all molded right into Holland, right? It's all Holland now. No, the Pisanos owned it. Yes, exactly, Timothy, and thanks for checking in. What's the weather on the other side of the globe over there, sir? I did Healer Transport. Excellent Thanksgiving. Just came out of a turkey coma a few hours ago. You were on the Space Coast. Nice. Thought that was piecework. Yeah, I thought so too, but apparently you can get a one price for the entire load, so that's pretty good. Kind of literally on that one. That's what we're saying, right? I can't believe they don't allow you to carry chains. I mean, most places that run west already have them on the truck. And I've encouraged people in the last few weeks to pull them off your truck, lay them out and check them, and make sure they're not any broken links or rusted or anything where they need to be repaired. Because you can get busted for that if you get a chain check and they're broken. They don't qualify as a chain. So take them off, lay them out, fix ones that need to fix, or get new ones. I-95 South to Jacksonville. That's all right. No bad weather down there, certainly. Setting to Texas. Chains are only to get to a safe place to park. If they're needed, shut it down. I totally agree with that, okay? But if you are somewhere where they're required to be carried, you may have to have them just hanging on the truck, right? Oh, thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. You're sending the snow, yes. And you're in Sin City today? That's still not bad. You had a very nice weekend, better than many of the rest of us. I appreciate it. No public restrooms at the way stations in New Mexico. So what if you're in there for an inspection and you need to use the bathroom? What do they do about that? Drive for one of the most hated mega carriers and you have chains. I'm surprised a company that runs west doesn't at least have them on the truck and say, okay, you don't have to chain up. But to not even have them on the truck, that's just really something. I'm surprised. You see red away where you live? I'm surprised about that too. There's a lot of surprises today. US 31 in Kokomo is light snow. All right, you're only an hour from us, and we have drivers that live over there. No snow here in Lafayette. So if you're headed this way, nothing gonna go on. Come on over here. The weather's fine, and nothing on the ground. Even the grass isn't covered. As I'm looking outside here to see. 139 watch it. Yeah, I never asked for the like thing, right? Spray it chains with WD-40. Totally agree. Couple times a year, get out and spray them, and all winter. The salt eats them up too. Get them out. Check them. You don't want them broken if you need to get into a truck stop. You don't want to get a ticket for a bunch of broken links when you should have got that fixed in the fall. It's important. It's snowing in Terre Haute. What the heck is going on? Are we like in the we're in the one spot that there's no snow? Don't use iron, use auto socks. Well, some companies provide a set of chains to hang on your truck. You haven't, but you'll park before chaining up. I agree. I got real sick one year that put me out for a while from chaining. Look, I don't like running them. I think if it's bad enough to chain, I think you should park. I really do. But as we know, you may have to have them hanging off the truck. So to not have them on the truck, that's surprising. And I always tell people, at least have a couple of them, because you can get in and out of a bad parking lot that hasn't been plowed. So at least a couple, just for your own use, really. In Ohio, you can get your CDL paid for the state through Ohio Means Jobs. That's a lot of states. It takes 6 weeks, but they pay 100% of the schooling, including books. A lot of states do that. Check your state Department of Unemployment. And that's great of Ohio. You can go to truck school and not owe anybody anything. And you can, then you got the whole world basically in your hands, as the song goes. But you don't have to be beholden to a place because they paid for your truck school. And remember, once you have your license, don't sign a contract with a place. Some places, some companies still want you to sign a contract because you don't have experience. So they have you sign the same contract as everybody that went through the truck school. Tell them to no way. Tell them to go sign their own contract, and you're not going to tolerate that. But that's a serious thing, and I don't understand it. But that way they figure they have you on the hook. You don't have to sign. You've got your license. Yes, Kenworth, Ryder, just have them on there because you don't know when you'll need them. And I agree. Also, make sure they're not hanging low, dragging the ground, anything like that. Put them up, hang them up, lay them out, be done with them. What do you think about Kansas? Which there was an article this weekend, okay, about Kansas. And what they're doing, they hired a bunch of retired DOT officers who are trained, and they're working up to 999 hours a year each. And that must be, at 1,000 hours, they must have to give them some kind of benefits. So that must be why they're doing it. But they're going in rest areas in Kansas. They're talking about it. And what they're doing, looking for owner-operators and older trucks. And they're targeting those people for logbook violations. And so they're stopping the people in the red that are already there and doing inspections. And by the way, they're getting tons of tickets that way. Their ticket rate is way higher than other states, kind of proving that, people in those trucks are cheating their logs, sort of. But they're getting way more tickets. So they're using these retired officers. And I would be careful if you're running an older truck there, or if you're an owner-operator running through Kansas. They talked about targeting, those people are being directly targeted for enforcement, and it's actually working. They're getting enforcement done, and it's working. So if you're going through Kansas in an old truck, maybe a pre-DEF truck or something like that, Kansas is there for you, and they're writing tons, including form and manner tickets, which you have a paper log and you didn't write the date down, or you didn't write the name of the company on it or something like that. They're getting all these kind of smaller form and manner violations, and they're adding up. I mean, they're way 25, 30% higher than surrounding states for the same number of tickets because they're specifically targeting people that they think will be more likely to get this kind of ticket. And yeah, it's illegal to interrupt your sleep time. If you get out of the truck and walk into the building, guess what? Inspection. They can't wake you up. They're not supposed to wake you up off your break, but you walk in there, time to get an inspection. That's how they're doing it at these places. No problem. They better not wake anyone up. I agree. They said that they're just walking in and just sit there, and so you park and walk into the building, you're not sleeping. And you better not have sleeper berth on your logbook when you get out of that truck and walk in also, because they walk up to you, they'll go back to your truck and check it. It better not say sleeper berth. That is a violation. That's a real problem for you. So I'm telling you, if you're an owner-operator or an older truck in Kansas, they talked about it. I would be very careful about that. Christopher, thank you very much. I appreciate that today. So be careful, because you get out of the truck and he goes, okay, let's do it. We're just going to do a paperwork inspection. And now what? Guess what? And he goes back and you're on sleeper because you're trying to either start sleeper or something like that. You have a problem. You're not caught up to the last change of duty status, which the law says. So are they right? Technically, they'd be right on that. They shouldn't violate you for something like that, but they've been doing it. And they're going to continue to do it because it's paying off for them. And they're using these retired officers to do these inspections. Is it right? No. They shouldn't. They should only do random, where every 20th truck or something like that. But they're specifically targeting, and it's working. It's working, and that's a problem. How can they tell which ones are 90s and older? Because you can kind of eyeball them and see, a truck that is older. And they see who's an owner-operator. So they can look up your DOT number. So you come in and you have your own authority, let's say, and you come in there. They can put your DOT number in 2 seconds, and so you have one truck. So they know you own that truck, and so bingo, you're in for inspection. You got your year of experience. Where should you go next? It depends what you want to do in trucking, right? Do you want to be home? Do you want to be gone? And a part of it depends where you live. As we always say, if you live, out in the suburbs, outskirts of East Armpit, it's harder to get a decent job because there's nothing around. So that depends. Don't hate me, but if truckers could still run paper logs, I would be an outlaw. Well, we're going to hate on you. I never encourage anyone to run illegal. If you have to run beyond 14 hours a day, I mean, how many hours a day do you need to work to make money? That's crazy. Remote ELD access. They're working on that, Timothy. Believe me. They're working on where you pass by the scale. I saw a test of it. You're not going to have to do anything. They'll be able to drive by and access your log that way. That day is coming, and that day is not coming that long. There'll be a sensor outside the truck and one in the police car or whatever, and they'll just drive by and can access your log that way. And the same with the scale. So for sure, that day is coming. At that point, tell the officer, forget it, and I'll log that on my duty. Yes, now if you said that to the officer, it would be on duty time, of course. You could actually tell him that off duty as well, I think. Hello from Ohio. Say what? What's happening? Northern or southern Ohio? That's the question, meaning snow or no snow. You said before when you become an owner-operator, you would name a truck outlet. Somebody may already have that name. And actually, somebody wrote to me. Oh, that was out west, right? I was talking to someone about out west trucking. Anyone know anything about that? I looked it up a little bit. I never heard of this little place. It's off-duty. That's why it's not sleeping. Real dumb. Yes, exactly. You could off-duty and walk in there for sure. But what they're doing, they know people stop and get out and walk inside. But if you're running a paper log, it would still show driving. So technically, you are in violation because your log is not caught up to your last change of duty status. Bingo. Ticket. There's their first ticket. Brian says go to TAC. Yes. Totally agree, right? DOT, if you want to run on the road, go to TAC. DOT is like the IRS. It's a different kind of trucking. Brian can expand on that. You could change your duty status you can change it from the app while he's standing in front of you. That's pretty good. Besides fuel boycott, all purchases in Kansas until they quit picking. Yeah, that kind of thing won't work though. Why? Companies fuel where they fuel, right? And so that's a problem. As a company driver, you just can't do it. So those kind of things just don't work. Snow in Upper Sandusky at the Loves. Yeah, that's moving across up on the north end of it for sure still. You went through 4 bad accidents last night. It was terrible. I was watching on the news. Looked bad. Cattle haulers don't have to worry about e-logs yet. That day is coming. They run nights for a reason, yes. So the cows sleep too, right? You have out west, I have friends that are a team there. Really? What do they think about it? Because of the driver asking about it. The pay started pretty good there, considering they're in El Paso, which is the black hole of pay, really. I'm stuck doing my Northeast runs. There's not my run. All right. Until you get home this weekend, like Saturday night. Now you're in Buffalo. Ugh. New York at C&S Grocers. I hope you have your shovel ready up there. In Philly, you see we're to 3 days a week clobbering a car. We have crappy small streets. Well, at least they're consistent, right? You only log off duty even when in the sleeper for your full 10 hours. How come? How come you don't log sleeper berth if you're in the sleeper? That's a curious question. Lauren, good morning and good afternoon from Middle Indiana. Why do you log off duty if you're in the sleeper? And I'm trying to think if that's a violation or not. While you're on toilet, update the ELD. That's pretty good. You know, if you have an app, you could update it on the toilet. DOT is like consistently auditing truck drivers. Yeah, you know, because they know that they can get you on this little kind of thing where you get out of the truck, but you're still on driving. So they know they've got you on that kind of thing. And it isn't right to do to people, really. Kim, where did you drive for? Yes, after Mills pulled the 3 year. Yeah, that was crazy to hear that, really. It's really sad about them. If it's got 10 hours interrupted rest, whether it's off duty or sleeper, split between the two, yes. You can split it. It doesn't matter. You can go back and forth every 20 minutes, on duty, or off duty and sleeper. Yeah, it can be any combination of the two as long as they're uninterrupted by driving time or on duty time. That is correct. That's correct. So if you're in the sleeper, you need to go to the bathroom, you have to change your status and off duty. You're not in the sleeper. Sleeper berth is for all time spent resting in the sleeper. That's specific. So technically, right, this is very technical, really. And I don't think a cop should give you a ticket. But if you got out of the sleeper, you're not on the sleeper, right? You're not resting up in or upon the sleeper berth, as it says. So technically, you would not be in the sleeper. There are two ways to get around the logs: buy a 90s truck or a glider. You can get a glider, that's correct, right? You can also run 150 air miles, no logs. So there's a couple different ways to do it. Some different places have different rules. Oil and all that has different rules. Bad malady, yeah, it is a problem. Look, these kind of technical things, where they're writing you a ticket on a technicality is ridiculous. Okay, I'm not saying it's any good. I'm saying that, are they right? Yeah, legally, to the letter of the law, they're probably correct. Is it good? It's totally ridiculous. It's that kind of thing is just a money grab. And I don't think that they're out just to get money at most places, but this is just totally to get money, doesn't it? That has nothing to do about safety. Nothing to do. When you write somebody on a technicality, it doesn't have anything to do with safety. You don't think they're unsafe. You think they didn't fill out their log exactly correct because they had to hit the bathroom. So you're going to write them a ticket. That kind of thing's ridiculous. But we can't boycott Kansas. So, we can all write the governor, that kind of thing. And, because these people don't understand what is going on. But that kind of thing is just crazy. Yeah, say what exactly? They should have a line for that too, right? You heard e-logs don't work for everybody. It's a tough program, right? You're going to look for LTL work after Christmas? There's tons of it around, right? Tons of it around. Gliders are illegal in California? I don't think so. Why are they illegal in California? Would have to meet CARB, that's all right, for the year that the engine is made. You don't think the government should run people of run ELA? It would never be a choice, right? That's the thing. Timothy tried to warn us all. 23-year DOT employee quits. Yeah, look, that kind of thing is revenue for sure. If you have 10 hours of rest, whether it's between sleeper and off duty, and a DOT interrupts that by making you go on duty, and it makes you miss an appointment, couldn't they be held responsible? Well, no, because they'd be the government agencies always exempt themselves in the law when they're performing their official duties. Now we know, and I said duty, which I think is funny because I'm still 8 years old, but and the wife will enjoy that. But seriously, they exempt themselves, and what they would say right now, right, is that they just put the thing out. They're not supposed to interrupt your break or a sleeper berth time with an inspection. They aren't. Okay, so I would still hold them to that. They're just not supposed to interrupt your break. Where I hear truckers they could boycott a state, but they won't. Kevin, what's happening? Good afternoon out there. Mad Maldy, that is correct. You have to. There's a form for that you have to get filled out in advance. Company pays violations other than driving violations. Would company pay a low tire mechanical? Yes. They would, other than a violation that is your violation, yes. Companies are required to pay it. Some companies want to take it out of your check. They're not allowed to remove any wages from your check without your authorization, including tickets. So you'd have to authorize it, and I wouldn't. I would make sure they paid it, though, because it'll still go against your record if it's unpaid. You've got the name on there. So an unpaid ticket turns into a warrant. Make sure it gets paid. She was there right at projected enforceable tricks. Exactly right. Kim would like to get into doing LTL. Yeah, absolutely. You have plenty of experience. Start checking around now. Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, for sure. You blame Warner for the e-logs. They started a long time ago, didn't they? Yeah, you could find a company that's dedicated in your area like Cowan. They do local stuff. They are here in Indianapolis too. Because if you get out to go in the shower or sitting in the jump seat, the only time you log sleeper is to get the 8-2 split, because it has to be done in the sleeper. All right, I just wondered why you don't log a full sleeper time if you're actually in the sleeper. Many people don't go to the communist state of California, that's for sure. Charlie, agree with that, right? Warning should read known to cause California. Yes. California is just, it's like going to another country almost. It's almost like driving around in Europe, right? You think truckers should stop going to California? A lot of them don't go. It's way harder to get freight in and out of there. Yes, YRC is always hiring. You're just not a Teamster fan. Free insurance. And believe me, you cannot be a Teamster fan. We could talk about that, but YRC drivers get paid for their time. And there are many drivers sitting at a dock for free. So we got to give them that. Whatever they're doing, they're going to get paid for it per contract. Driving a long time can cause a blackout. Yes, exactly, Edgar. Without some kind of log system, companies would have you drive 24 hours a day. That's how it used to be, right? Not that long ago, we were driving that long. Opposed to many people, I'm a fan of electronic logs. I don't think you need to work more than 14 hours a day to make a living. Waiting in Georgia for your trailer to finish up. All right, James, good. At least it's warm there, unlike up here. I'm sure you've been watching the weather. Werner, Schneider, JB, yeah, all of them together, right? Any thoughts on Schneider? They got a lot of different stuff to do, which is what I've always said. They have tankers, vans, rails, local. I mean, a company like that, if they're whatever you're doing there, there's something else for you to do if you don't like it. And you don't. It's like you're doing an entire another job without changing jobs. I'm out there popping up in different videos. What's going on with that? I must have plenty of off time. You saw the crappy job of the week, U.S. Express. I'm popping up in other videos. I'm popping up in my own videos, right? I'm not in anybody else's video other than Auto Transport Intel on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. And I'm not on this week. But he will be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. So go check him out. But I'm not on there other than that. I must be in my own videos. You've seen truckers say you should not have logbooks. Yeah, there are truckers that say that. But do you want to work 23 hours a day? No. Something that's not illegal, but it's still kind of unsafe to you to do because you may not be tired. You may not be able to get the proper sleep. I totally agree. Check out Black Smoke Matters. I don't know about that. Have you ever checked that guy out? Oh my gosh. Not a fan. Not a fan of stopping the interstate. You're making the wrong people mad at you. It's not going to solve anything. California doesn't let gliders in because they're not meeting the current emissions. So you're 389. Does California go based on the year of the truck instead of the year of the engine, the way it's supposed to be done, like it is in the rest of the country? I was showing when I left Friday. Oh, it was snowing in Wyoming. It's in the mid 40s in Georgia. Well, I'm surprised, but that's still better than here. And so you're not going to see much of it down there. You like e-logs too? So there's two of us. Live in California, afraid it's easy to get leaving. Yeah, right. It pays good, but coming in is, yeah, because nobody wants to go in, right? Who wants to go there? I totally agree. Okay, Kenneth, right? That's my video. Yeah, I have a lot of videos out. Let's just say it. I put, I do this plus 3 or 4 a week, so they're likely to pop up here and there. You see me pop in around. I'm in around. Just check it out wherever it pops up. Your friend drives a '99 Pete, and he said he runs California. He laughed. Yeah, well, good for him. He's eventually going to get busted on that, for sure. The outfit you're with is gliders, and you stay away from there because of being ticketed. That's what I'm saying, Dustin. The tickets in California for emissions get pretty expensive. I don't know if you want to, risk that. If nobody went there, they couldn't do it. I mean, just let them sit out there, let them eat their organic, rice patties or whatever all they eat, and let them try and fill up their Teslas, and that's it. Oh, the Asian My Show's popping in to get subscribers from this channel. Who does that? Come on now, man. Peterbilt 379. I'm a part of the Black Smoke Matters. Good. Congratulations. I'm not. You're trying to find why they're protesting. They're protesting because they're kind of mad about stuff, but they're going about it all the wrong way. That isn't any good. Been having a hard time finding a drive-in over-the-road carrier that pays well that's not a mega carrier, because none of them are willing to pay you what you need. Yeah, that is a problem. What I've found from people writing over time is that mega carriers or not, the people that seem to write that are the most happy to me have a regular dedicated run. Then you get to know where you're parking and stuff, and that's every week I get tons of those. So even at a mega carrier, you seem to be able to do good on a dedicated run at a mega carrier. But if LTL, there's tons. If you live near a major city, there's lots of LTL work, and it doesn't have to be one of these larger named places too. Check a private fleet. There's always that. Near me, there's Napa Auto Parts and O'Reilly Auto Parts. They have private fleets right here in town. 90 miles away is a Kroger warehouse where they deliver to Kroger grocery stores. The Speedway has a fuel depot south of me here. So there's that kind of job as well. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You have a place to go at the Speedway. You're going in to deliver at Speedways. There's always something for you to do like that. California acts like the capital of the USA. Yeah, all they are is the capital of Organicville. Carb goes off the year of the engine. Never mind the fact that you still see them plated. Well, if it's the year of the engine and your engine is pre-emission, what is the problem going to California then with it? If as long as it passes whatever year the engine is for carb, you should be able to take a glider in there then. So I guess I don't know where they're going off on that. How many illegal trucks are running and don't get caught? A lot, probably a lot. That's for sure. Yeah, take a hike for California. Carb does not have the authority to stop you. Only CHP can. Eric Estrada, right, can stop you. You never stop for Carb unless the CHP comes. Eric Estrada, and John Wilcox. Those guys can stop you. James says dedicated runs are great. You learn the spots. You figure out the best times for whatever cities. That's exactly correct. And that's what tons of people write to me, even from mega carriers. Once they get on there and get a regular run or whatever carrier, they seem to do great and enjoy it. You don't have to worry as much about parking and everything. It seems to be a good solution at a large or small place, or or a private fleet carrier, which like Napa, which runs out of Indianapolis. They have their own fleet of trucks. What is my opinion of the ATA? They represent companies and not you. And whatever they can do to pay you less and have the companies make more, they love it. I'm not a fan of them. But that's just a trade organization where companies get together and lobby Congress to get laws to pay you less and make sure that we don't get overtime and make sure that we can sit for free. The ATA loves all that stuff. If you're required to log it, you should get paid. Absolutely. All logged time should be paid 100%. Are non-CDL straight trucks exempted from stopping? Yeah, right. 26,000 pounds is usually the sign at the scale. Some of them, though, say all commercial vehicles. So if it's a commercial vehicle, then yes. So I think it varies by state on that stuff. Easy on trash in California. Look, their food, their organic mushroom foods are delicious. Organic mushroom ice cream, gotta love it. With no cream. Can't truckers take the back country to avoid the DOT? You're never gonna get anywhere. You can't run the back roads anymore like Smokey and the Bandit. It's not gonna work that way. E-logs will turn into the driver's best friend. Yes, e-logs have turned out to be the driver's pay's best friend, as pay has gone up more lately than it has in some time. Ashley Homes Furniture has some private fleet. That's correct. You live 5 miles outside of their hiring area for commuting. They said they weren't willing to consider you. Well, what is, here's the other thing about commuting. How far do you want to commute to work? We have people that come in an hour each way to work. I think that is a long way. Ironically, for comparison, I just did an oil change this weekend on my car, and since the middle of April, I have 1,752 miles on it. So how far do you want to commute? Because if you're working for Ashley, especially if you're home every day there on their day cabs, do you want to run 12 hours and then commute 2 more hours in your car? I don't know about that. Maybe you do, but I'm not a fan of long commutes. But that's just me. Some people love it. I'm a fan of it. Okay, in Florida, Brian says all commercial vehicles with a DOT number stop at the scales. I think it's kind of, state by state. Some it's 26,000, one, all commercial, it depends. Any hazmat placarded is going to be CDL only, so you'll have to stop for that. First, you got to get to the old school truckers to run the e-logs. They'll run them eventually. They can't run a 1983 Kenworth forever. Maybe you could, though. You live in Fayetteville. Okay, so that's not too far from anything, right? I'm not sure what... and there would be a lot of furniture in the Carolinas, right? Swift used to have dedicated Great Lakes Regional. I don't consider that a dedicated run. And Costco out of Morris. A dedicated run is a single customer, to me. Some of these places, dedicated east of I-35. That's not dedicated. That's half the country. 55 cents a week bonus home weekly. That's not bad, now that Knight owns them. But if you're running for one customer, yeah. But that's just, a dedicated Great Lakes is just, you stay in the Great Lakes area and run freight. I consider a dedicated, like Costco, like you're saying, you run only Costco. That's a regular dedicated run. That's what I say. Swift didn't call me and ask me about it, though. So, although I'm waiting for their call. You're old school. You're going to come on back out here? Hey, come on out. The weather's great. Water's good. Come on in. Your company, people drive 3 hours to come to work. I find that to be crazy. They probably do more in a month than I do in a year on my car. I need to do more research on Black Smoke Matters. They've changed their opinion on shutting down. They already shut down the interstate. I can look into them if something has changed about them, but shutting down, aggravating the public, that is no solution to trucking. What are the people stop behind them supposed to do? You don't mind e-logs? Yeah, they're pretty good, right? Okay, it can avoid the interstate to avoid way stations? Yeah, but you get busted back there. Your previous employer forced you. Now, of course, they shouldn't do that naturally, right? Of course, that's why it says previous. So in Minnesota, all the commercial vehicles. So if you got a DOT number, you're in the scale. So it depends on what they're doing in the truck. Outlaw trucking was over a long time ago. Yeah, that was the olden days of trucking, right? You drive with Swift on the Costco account. What do you say? What's your star rating, 1 to 5 stars on Costco? Because if you're on a dedicated account, even at a large company, it's probably pretty good. That's what I find. Tons of people write and say that. Once they get a regular account and get out of the general freight at a mega carrier, they get better pay, they get treated better, they know what they're doing, you go to the same places, you stop at the same places, you can aggravate and sexually harass the waitresses at the same people all the time. It's really nice. Freight rates have been low with the election season. I don't know. I don't know what freight rates about necessarily. Minnesota has no pre-pass. Nice. Yeah, because they wouldn't want you bypassing the scale. They might not get a ticket from you. What about Southeastern Freight? Yeah, Southeastern Freightways. How about that? What do you think about Bar None? Yeah, I love Bar None. I've heard some bad things since Night bought them. I did a video about them, which you're welcome to go see on the channel. And they wrote to me, by the way, and thanked me for it afterwards. And I like it. They have great. The pay is good. The detention's good. So I'm in for them. Go check out the video and then give them a call and see what you think about it. See what they have in your area. If they have something that will satisfy the whatever you need out of trucking. Because let's face it, everybody needs a different thing out of trucking. That's why people all say, well, what is the best company? Well, it depends. It depends on what you want. What do you want out of trucking? Everybody wants something different. You run dedicated upstate New York for England, 52 cents home weekends, paid holidays, on-time delivery. But that's dedicated just upstate New York. That's not to a regular customer, right? Bailey, thanks for coming in anyway. Yeah, get this UPS load and make that money out there. $141.8, nice. You just started with Swift on the Costco. Okay, good. Yeah, right. And you're satisfied, and I think you're gonna be at least from what people write to me. Yeah, okay. People don't like Swift, but on a dedicated account there, you're gonna do good, and you get all the benefits of a large company. Our truckers are a dying breed. Those days are over. I mean, that's for sure over. I don't want people running illegal at all. What do I think about TMC? What I've said about TMC is when I heard that you have to make your bed, that when you come into the terminal and do a bed check in your truck, I'm not a huge fan of that. And you can't walk on the grass, or they come in and take you in the office and talk to you about it because you walked in the grass. I mean, come on, really? And TMC, at least in the industry, stands for the Marine Corps because they're the Marine Corps of trucking. That's great if you're in the Marine Corps. But I don't make my bed in the truck that day, and so then they're going to give me some kind of demerit for that? No way. That kind of thing is ridiculous. Does that mean I'm not safe because I didn't make my bed that day? I wonder if they bounce a quarter off of it too. Truckers are the last true out. No, I don't know about that. Yeah, exactly, Mitch. That's exactly correct. Chris, hey, what's happening out there today? That's a good one. Happens if you drive on the grass. Holy mackerel. That means I'm quitting. I've already got a new job, probably. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, David. Are they bouncing a quarter? Look, it's been verified by a number of people. They do a bed check. They check your bed when you come in the terminal, make sure it's made. That's ridiculous. Wish there was a school program for mega care other that allowed dogs. Well, you're training, yeah. They're not going to do that because it's hard enough to learn how to drive without trying to take care of your dog. Remember, if you get out, you can take a gigantic, horse hound with you at Celadon. So let's consider that. TMC is micromanagement. There seems to be a lot of talk of that, certainly, of people that if they're going to make your bed, they got to have you make your bed. I mean, holy mackerel. Can they not leave my bed alone? Hospital corners, yeah. Oh no, it's going to be tight, for sure. You got to have a wool blanket on it and everything. I wonder if they regulate the color. I never asked them about that. Can I do a video on Smith? Is that the people up here, those black trucks? Crappy management at TMC, but nice trucks. They have nice trucks. They put your name on it, too. Isn't that great? You're going to have your pet riding with you? Okay. Is it going to be a gigantic horse hound that you can take at Celadon? What do I think of CWW? I never heard of that place. CWW. How's the ATS lease purchase? Yeah, I'm not a fan of any lease purchase, okay? Other than a couple that have written to me from smaller places where they do really good. Some kind of lease purchase? No way. Don't rent the truck from the company. Go somewhere, buy the truck yourself. Control your biggest asset, which is that truck yourself. Don't rent it from the company. I have yet to find hardly anybody that's a lease operator that makes more at the end of the year than a company driver if they factor in all the benefits. TMC wants to clean the inside of your truck with a toothbrush. I've heard that, it has to be very clean when you come in the terminal. No matter what you're coming for, they inspect your truck at TMC when you come into any terminal. And I don't know about toothbrush, but they say it has to be very clean in there, for sure. You wanted to finance your truck, but I looked into it and I didn't think it's a smart thing to do. What's my opinion on becoming an owner operator? Well, look, you're getting this from a company driver, right? I'm not, the only way to be an owner operator certainly is to buy your own truck and run it. You can lease it on somewhere, but you need to own the truck. But after the benefits, you got to consider you lose a lot of benefits that you get as an employee, and it's a huge risk. So you'd have to make really good money. You shouldn't just make a little more than a company driver. All insurance and everything you would have to buy yourself, it's very expensive. You should go price those things out before you buy the truck. I'm not a huge fan, otherwise I'd be an owner operator, I suppose. But there are people that do good about in it, certainly, and there are people on this channel doing it, making money. But for me, it's not for me. I don't have any worries about the truck. When I go in a little later today, if my truck doesn't start, I'll just get a different truck and drive it around, and it won't cost me anything while they fix that one, or we'll take it and get it fixed, or whatever it takes. But as an owner operator, if your truck doesn't start, you've got a huge problem. You might have to have somebody take your load, they go get your truck fixed. I mean, that kind of stuff bothers me. And so I don't want that risk for me. DOT used about safety, but oh yeah, the DOT is not necessarily about safety. Most of them, no way, especially this Kansas thing where they're writing you up for these form and manner violations. It's crazy. DART, I haven't looked into DART. I know they do a lot of individual stuff in different cities, so they're harder to pin down. Covenant, yeah. I did a Star Transport, which is part of Covenant, and so there are 3 heads on the same body. Forget it. They can stick all those I love babies stickers on the back. No way. You've made your bed since boot camp of 2000, but that's a little much for the company to demand it. I agree. So I got up late. I just got out of bed. I didn't think about it. I mean, and then they're gonna give you problems about not making your bed that day. Even say you're safe. Oh, I've been safe 10 years here. Yeah, but you didn't make your bed. I really need you to make your bed. I mean, come on. That has nothing to do with anything. Back in the 70s, everybody was an outlaw. Yeah, on TV, basically. A lot of it was TV, okay? A lot of it was TV. Truck must be showroom clean when you go in for service. That's ridiculous. You work there? Okay, so what we're saying is basically correct, what we've heard from other people. Your truck doesn't need to be, I think, showroom clean every day. Now, I get that they don't want, 100 bags of McDonald's in the truck piled up and stuff. I get that. And I think your dashboard should always be clean, because I've seen people that have a bunch of stuff up there that reflects off the glass or whatever. But come on, make this showroom clean. Holy mackerel. What if it was muddy when I got in the truck right before I got in there, Comfortable man has never seen a worthwhile lease program from a carrier. I agree. You'll never make as much as a company driver at the end of the year if you figure in all the benefits. I guarantee it. Just like the Men's Warehouse. I guarantee it. Truck companies are so vilified. Why are 8 companies in a Fortune 500? That doesn't mean anything. That means that they hosed everybody and make a lot of money. That doesn't mean they're any kind of a good place. That's for sure. Is Prime bad for a company flatbed? I don't know what their company flatbed pays. I never looked into it there. I know that they mainly do reefers, so I never looked into that. Nasty, you checked. The nicely made bed didn't help me out in a wreck. That's correct. They're focusing on the wrong things. That way they can you're just used to getting controlled by the company, and they know that they can just hold that against you. I don't like it at all. They'll literally check the grooves between the pedals and around the gauges. It has to be perfect. That's enough right there to not work there. Okay? And that's from somebody that worked there. That's ridiculous. Does anybody else... Who needs to check the grooves in the floor? You're an independent driver, own your own. When you lose an engine, you better have a backup plan. Yes. Because it happened to you and almost put you out of business. That's the thing. The risk. So for that risk, I think you should make way more than me. Than any company driver, because you're taking a huge risk. So you deserve to make way more money. You're taking all the risk. So if you're independent, you should make the money, which you probably do. Companies are fobbling on the driver. Yes, exactly. They fine you for not having DEF. They cannot collect it due to the way it was written in California. you have to break the law to make decent money, quit and go into politics. It's way better money. Yeah, a lot easier money. You shouldn't have to work more than 14 hours a day to make a living. People that want to work 20 hours a day, I mean, how are you not making a living in 14 hours? Maybe TMC should throw an incentive to make your bed. There should be some kind of bonus program. The way companies have a fuel bonus, there should be a bed bonus. Maybe for every 10 times that your bed is made, you get a memory foam pillow with the TMC logo in it so that you can sleep with TMC every night. Late man TMZ had to make your bed 4 times. If that quarter doesn't bounce at least a foot, you better remake it. Light bright, that's exactly correct. I guarantee it. George Zimmer, yes. That guy, oh my gosh, too soon for that guy. Your company won't do a lease, they say it's a bad idea. Good. They're a smart place. It's a good idea for them, though. I'm surprised they don't do it because it's a great idea for the company. The companies make out on that. We don't make out on it. The company makes out on it. DOT is conducting urine tests at waste stations. I'll tell you this, Justin. This must have been, I don't know, early 2000s. Before that, probably mid 90s, I'm going to say. I went into a scale and was in Jersey, of all places. And they pulled me in the back, and they had a motorhome set up there. And they bring you in, they go, okay, we have this urine test. You can do a urine test right here. I go, and I asked the guy, I go, is this mandatory? Do I have to do this? No, it's voluntary, he goes. And I go, all right, I'm not doing it. And so then they tried to badger me into it. Oh, well, but if you don't, we're only collecting this, to see how many drivers are, on drugs or whatever. I go, I'm not doing it. If it's voluntary, I'm not doing it. Okay, and he tried to badger me into it. He goes, well, we'll tell your company that you didn't do it. I go, I don't care. I'll tell them right now. I go, give me the phone. I didn't have a phone, right, back then. And so I told them. And they're like, yeah, you don't have to do it or whatever. So I don't know if it's mandatory now. I don't think they can make you do it at the side of the road, personally. But back then it was voluntary, although they didn't say that until you asked them. So I would ask them, is this mandatory? Am I required by law to do it? If not, I wouldn't do it. Certainly, you don't know where that's going for sure. But that's an interesting story that reminded me of that from back then. They were doing it, 20 years ago. They had motorhomes at the side of the road, but it was voluntary after you asked him. TMC runs some of the nicest company trucks, so don't they probably do that to keep their reputation? Nobody knows if your bed is made. If the truck is clean on the outside, nobody knows if your bed is made when you're driving down the road. Chris says, go around the way station. How about if it's voluntary, they can't do it? I'd still say, I bet it's still voluntary. So go in there and say, is this voluntary? Am I required by law to do this? E-logs force you to drive when you don't want to. I agree. Sometimes you do have to drive when you don't want to. We all have to do things we don't want to do in life, as they say. Oh, just get the lot lizard to make your bed? Oh, that's a good idea. They're getting some fresh ones, I understand, delivered here, as we saw earlier. So, yeah, for a few extra bucks, they'll say, I'll do anything for $10. Make my bed. How about that? That's a great idea. I'll do anything for $10. Make my bed. It better be a bunch of quarter off it. Company drivers don't have a problem with e-logs, old school drivers. Yeah, they're against it because they're not making any money. I don't understand it. You need California to survive in the United States. California should break off the United States and leave. It's not mandatory, then they can leave. Yes. I don't think it's the law. Okay, I do not think they can make you do, your company can make you do a random, but I don't think they can just drag you in. Ask them. If you're in there, say, is this mandatory by law? Do I have to do it? I don't think so. I don't think you do. Yeah, we can survive without California. Exactly. The military ambition stringent to the core doesn't measure as it was. In my opinion, the pay is bad. The pay is not great, depending where you are. It's getting better as we go along, though, for sure. Part of the problem with pay is that people tolerate low pay. And if you're new, that's one thing. But I get letters from people all the time. Oh, I've been driving 15 years, and my company makes me sit around for 6 hours every 3 days to get loaded. Well, quit. I mean, you have plenty of experience to go somewhere else. You don't have to sit without being paid those long periods of time like that. You know, you're making your own problem worse, basically. If they tell them, you're going to pay me or I'm leaving. That is the fastest way to do it. Their wonderful college scholarship. I forgot to mention the U.S. Express College Scholarship. I did not. They have their own video. So you can go back to my channel, U.S. Express. It's on September 11th, right in the round in there. I did a video just about their college, which is horrible, if you want to call it a college. But I agree, right. It isn't any good, and it's no reason to start there. TMC needs clean trucks. Oh, so when you hand it in, it's ready for the next guy. Right. That way they don't have to clean it. They want the truck spotless because they know you're going to quit all the time. Have the lot lizards do that? Yes. Trooper Rage, I agree. You can't find a lot lizard? Dang it. We're going to too nice of truck stops. California is the cleanest air? Yeah. You had a picnic next to the river? Enjoy. Do you think we need a union? We'll never get a union in trucking, certainly. Guaranteed every 6 months you get chosen. What are you doing over there? Like I always say, right, it's been a few years, but I'll probably next year I'll be up for a few of them and then have to go again. But I don't think the DOT can do that at a scale. I still bet you they don't have the right to do it. You're basically volunteering if you do it. You got Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, where is he now? You wish drivers quit pouring their bottles out in the parking lot? Okay, so Thursday morning, I'm coming home. I stop at the Loves as always. There's big spots. I don't even know I have to say this. Fuel, and then you pull up, okay, at the line. There's big spots at the line. What are we doing here? I mean, really? You're gonna pour this out right there? Come on, people. I mean, we are half the time we're our own problem. Swift started offering a college program. I agreed. Northern New Hampshire University or whatever. Swift is in on the college thing too. I just saw that, right. Although I actually looked this college up. This is a more legitimate college, slightly more, than U.S. Express is using. That for sure. Do I get mad fan of driving a Volvo? I don't know. I don't drive a Volvo and I wouldn't care. Somebody could make fun of it, I guess. That's the least of my concerns. If somebody's going to laugh at the truck I'm driving, well, okay. They don't pay you, file a complaint against them with your local state employment. I agree, comfortable man. Totally agree. Every time you're unpaid, I've said this before as well. If you sit and don't get paid, I think every time that happens, you should file with your state that you are working and not being paid wages. Your company has to answer it. Every complaint must be answered or it goes in your favor. So what if they were just inundated with thousands and thousands of complaints? Okay, somebody would take action at it. We can't let them not pay you. But if you have tons of experience and you're at a company that doesn't pay you and you just tolerate it, it's sort of your fault at some point for not saying you got to pay me or I got to leave. I mean, some people write to me they're 18 hours a week unpaid. That's ridiculous. That's hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week that you're giving up. Kenworth Rider, yes. Truck drivers are our own worst enemy. What? There's a bathroom right there. If you have the people clean out your truck, you're going to catch crustaceans. Oh, well, you have them clean that out too, right? For fresh out of school drivers, it's better than other megas and make better now with a smaller outfit. People talk about smaller and larger. It depends. It depends. People don't like Swift, but if you get on a good account there, it can be an all right place, even Swift. If you don't make money, stop hauling cheap freight. I agree. California can't regulate its citizens. How's it going to regulate a trucker? That's interesting. I laugh at the low pay, not the truck. It's about the money. Yes. We should always get paid. And if you drive a Volvo and someone makes fun of you, I could tolerate that if I got paid good. Minnesota Department of Labor, call and they only pay you minimum wage. That's all any state would be required to do, is get you minimum wage. But that is something. And remember, the complaints, what we want to do is inundate them with complaints. The company has to answer every complaint or it goes in your favor. So they'll be asked about it and have to respond every complaint. What if they had 1,000 of them a week? Okay, that's a big problem. That's where it needs to go to. All they can give you is minimum. That's correct, unless you have an agreement for more than that, which you would have to prove. Otherwise, you'll get minimum wage, right? Jimmy Hoffa Jr. is the chief union for UPS. Yes, right, that's correct. Do I listen to country music when I'm trucking? No, I usually listen to podcasts that I save. Chances a new driver get hired to transport fuel? Maybe, but less likely. Get a year and get a tanker. But I think that some places might do it. They might. I'd certainly call around. Some unions hurt companies, especially mines. You want to help quality in Ohio to pull for them, guaranteed drivers $1,500. Not bad. They say smaller carriers care more about drivers. Maybe. But like I always say, I don't care if they know me or anything like that, right? A larger carrier has better benefits because it's larger. And generally the benefits cost you less that they have, and there's more of them. You like a local end dump because you don't run a log. So you're within 150 miles, right? Hourly pay, so you get paid for all of your time and being home every day. You drive a Volvo. Now, do people make fun of you because you drive a Volvo? But you get paid well, and all of your time is paid. That is the solution. You have found a solution to your own problem. California has a wholly legal driver fleet? Yeah, probably. Smaller carriers compensate better? Maybe. But benefits normally are not as good. So it depends. If you're getting more a mile, but your insurance is 4 times as much, you have to figure how much is it at the end of the week, and really, what do they have to offer you? Does that carrier have the route you want or the freight you want? It depends. Maybe near you, a large carrier has exactly what you want, and so you go there, or some small carrier. Every person has a different need in trucking. It isn't all about, I want to be gone 10 months and make the most money possible. It just depends. A recruiter came to your school years ago for TMC was a Marine vet. Oh, that's ironic. That's something. I don't think they're required to be, though. Time to drive out of Washington, D.C. at 13:25. Nice. Yeah, minimum over there is higher, yes. Comfortable man, minimum wage. Yeah, but that's all the state can enforce. That's all the state can enforce to you because that's the law. They're only allowed to enforce the law unless you have something between you and the company in writing saying, yes, I'm supposed to get X dollars and they didn't pay me. Otherwise, all you can say is, look, I'm supposed to get at least minimum wage and I got nothing. And so then the state can at least enforce minimum wage. Regional flatbed, a good way to start as a completely new driver. It can be, right. One of my first road jobs was flatbed, certainly. It's a good mind workout. It gets your mind working as you try to figure out how to secure all different shaped, weird shaped things on the truck. I think it's a great workout for your mind. Single payer with lots more people equals more leverage equals better benefits. Yes, that's correct. Canada's having a truck driver shortage. Is it a fake shortage like the one we have here? And expediting visa, citizenship, there's money to be made up the Great White North. I'm not going to Canada, for sure. It snows enough here. Lots of drivers who drive long-nosed Pete's make fun of Volvo drivers. Yeah, that's the least of my concern. Some driver makes fun of my truck, my Cascadia. All right, now what, right? I'm past that time, for sure. Would it be wiser to start as a year or as a local place as a new driver? What do you want to do? There are local places that will hire you. So do you have a family? Do you have kids at home that might like to see you every once in a while? You know, you can be home every day for your whole life. Or do you want to go on the road? And there isn't that much pay difference, okay? So don't think like you're on the road, you make more money. You have to spend money on lot lizards and food and everything. It costs money to be out there on the road. These things aren't cheap, you know. So that's something to consider, you know. And roller wieners, those aren't cheap unless you get them on a discount. Like at 6 in the morning, you get the ones from 6 p.m. That's better. It's about being the happiest. Yes, it's way more important than people think. If you go to work every day and you're totally frustrated at your job, that job isn't worth no matter what it's paying. It isn't worth it. If your life at home is being ruined because you're gone all the time, you should go back and be home every day rather than ruin your life. The money isn't worth that. When you have all that money, come home and the house is empty, that wasn't worth it. So it just depends what you want and what your life needs. You have 4 kids under 5 years old. I don't think you should be gone for 6 weeks at a time, okay? That's not going to do you any good. So that, it just depends what you need in your life, what you want to do. Chris, oh, thanks for coming in for 30 anyways. I appreciate it. Remember, here every Monday at 1 p.m. Trucking offers the best 4-week training results. Yes. I mean, in a month of training, you can get out and make some money. College, there's people in college over here at Purdue studying ancient French literature. They're not going to make anything. I'll see them at Burger King in 4 years. They can get me my Whopper, no onions. You make fun of long-nosed Pete drivers when I see them having to turn around. Yeah, that's when we laugh. Oh, how's that nice long-nosed truck doing now? Teenagers make fun of grown people. Yes, that's correct. I don't care what kind of truck you drive. You making a living for your family? That's what matters. Chris, yes, 10 Pacific. If you do a regional, may open doors than just starting out. Local, right? And maybe. It depends. What do you want to do? That's the thing of it. What do you want to do? Do you want to be home? So if you want to be home, it doesn't make any difference. That, once you get a more experience, say you have at 10 years, okay? Nobody's going to care necessarily. You go, look, I got 10 years, no accidents. You can still go work pretty much anywhere. It's not going to be a problem. Chris runs dedicated FedEx ground. Should have a 12-hour week layover when I'm in Memphis. Contractor pays the co-driver $400 each, 60 extra. Nice. That's pretty good. That's the way it should be. So you're even getting paid for layover, which is unusual, when you're just sleeping. Todd, happy wife, happy life. Yeah. Happy family. Everybody happy, right? Now James wants a Whopper. Yes, you should go get a sack of them and bring them over here. You can major in Game Boy nowadays at college. Oh man, that'd be awesome. Where do you get a degree in that? Guys who drive Pete's never have to turn around. Oh, Pete's are pull-throughs. Pull through Pete. Ah. You have Alice, 14 each daughters. That's why you should be running containers. Yeah, you need to be there 24 hours a day. Lock the doors up and everything else, right? But absolutely. So you got a family, you need to be home. So you can make $100,000 being a team, being gone for 6 weeks. Is there a point to that? If you have a family with 4 teenage daughters at home? I don't think so. So your life doesn't allow that. But there's still plenty to do in trucking. What do I think about Prime? Not a fan. Did a video about him. Not a fan of him. As good as I look, why would you spend money on a lot lizard? That's the thing of it, Ryan. When you got it going like that, you don't have to. Oh, nice wild build, man. Bringing commercials up from the past. Man, I haven't seen that one in a while. That one's really good. You drive for Blockbuster and they haven't been paying you. Yeah, you're going to have a pay issue. I think you're going to. You must not get that many miles supplying that single store that they have. It's because you only have that single store, so you probably don't get as many miles as you used to. I used to drive years ago for Sony Distribution, and we would get all the videotapes. You'd get loads of videotapes and drive them around. You weren't supposed to tell anybody what you had, and it was just a plain white trailer, and they were all secretive when these new stuff would come out. Really something, right? Mad Maldy, do you like the horse meat burgers? Yeah, they're delicious, right? So by a driver, there isn't much overtime as you want with Saturdays optional. Well, it depends. That's the thing. Are you going to make enough money for you? And so if you're not getting overtime, you're only working like 40 hours, right? Is that enough money for you to then, maintain your life at home? When a nice looking long-nosed Pete, you give them the thumbs up. Okay. I bet they appreciate that. They're like, man, look I'm getting the thumbs up. That's awesome. That guy in there. Craggly guy. While he's smoking his cigarettes and flapping like this while he's talking. If you're not home, well, Todd, that's a possibility, I guess. Your company pays $30 for a reset. That's really good. Justin's Trucking. What about JB Hunt? JB Hunt is like Schneider. Where they are advertising here in Indianapolis, $70,000 for containers home daily. Now, I know somebody wrote to me and said it pays like 30 cents a mile, plus $15 a pickup, plus $8 to unload. There was a whole litany of things, different ways that it paid. But they do a lot of stuff like Schneider too. So they have these containers. and they have over the road. They don't have tankers or whatever, but so they do a lot of stuff too, and they're a large place. What about a private carrier near wherever you are? How about that? Where should new drivers start that expect to be home every day and off weekends? Any local company, like Yellow. I just posted on my Facebook, which you can. I'm on Facebook too at Trucking Answers. This weekend, Yellow ran an ad. Hey, we take students. We'll put you through truck school, no charge, and then pay you 60 grand to start first year and home every day, never gone. So that's a good example. Yellow will for sure take people because they're running an ad. Old Dominion takes students. ABF will take students depending where you are. A lot of these places, Holland, Hogan, a lot of these places will take you and you can be home for sure. Al, okay, yeah, that was you. All right, right. You said this whole different litany of JB Hunt stuff where it's a 50 million different ways they pay you, but at the end of the week, the 30 cents seems bad, but it's because it's pickup, container, and all that. So it's not terrible because of all the other freight, all the other ways that you get paid. Totally like it, right? And I appreciate everybody that sends me that kind of stuff. I do read everything and answer everybody. So Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. It's always in the description as well. You got a lot of respect for large car drivers. It's getting harder to get around out there. It's getting harder to buy the fuel too, right? With traffic islands, yes. Look, it's hard to do. And the fuel is just got to kill these people, really. Toys are going to open as Jeffrey's Toy Box. Really? The one here closed not that long ago. Brian, yeah, I think you should drive for Circuit City. Why are most JB on an intermodal drivers day cabs? Because they're just picking up and it's a local delivery. The rail has brought it to the city that it's going to or in the area, and they go deliver it and bring back the container, right? Is there money in regional driving? There's money in all driving at the right place, for sure. JB doesn't do doubles because the top will keep falling off. Very good, Bradley. That is very good. They don't put those locking pins in. That's the thing. They don't teach the drivers to lock them and then the top one bounces off. Right. Do I do just local or do I go all over? Late in the spring, I had to make a decision, and so I changed over. I'm home every day so that I had more time for Trucking Answers. So because it was getting to be, I get a couple of dozen emails a day that I answer. Besides, I do a blog, if you don't know that, on the website. And I'm on Instagram, if you're over there. I'm on Twitter, I'm over there. I'm on Facebook, if you're over there. I do 3 to 4 videos a week and this live show. So it's taking a lot of time. And I had to decide, do I want to be gone all the time or do I want to change the whole industry? And so I thought maybe there's a movement here. We can change the entire industry, but I have to have time to do it. So I don't work as much as I did. I took a large pay cut to do that so that I could take the time to be here doing Trucking Answers. And that's what I do. So I consider my work almost a second job because I work 7 days a week on this, doing something, one thing or another, and answering the video comments. So yeah, I'm home every day now. I do a regular run. It's almost the shortest run they had, and so that I have time for this. So there you go. That's what I do. Finkel 4 Logistics will hire new drivers. And there is no company named Finkel 4 Logistics and pay by the hour. I want to take a check. I'd get a paper check to the bank. Here's my check from Finkel 4 Logistics. There's no way. A USF runs Sterling's? No way. I don't know if it's going to be good. You just need to come off the road. It's going to be fine. There's tons of places that will pay you to be home every day. You can do it. Can you tell us who the company for Wednesday and the crap company of the week? Oh, no, you got to watch on Wednesday. But it'll be good as always. How much do drivers make hauling military equipment? I don't know. Those are usually owner-operators or a place that only does that. Hopefully, a lot. Since toilet seats are $1,100, I assume military equipment pays, what, $60 a mile. Do I ever see Yellow Freight Max? Not here. Not for here. Thanks, Wild Bell. I appreciate all of you being here on the channel, for sure. Thanks, Brian. Thank you very much. Can I check out a company called Showtime? Yeah, I've seen ads for that kind of place. You have to be gone for that, from what I read on the ad from a place called Showtime. Because you may pick up a show right? A Broadway show or whatever, and then you may sit there for a few days and then go somewhere else. So if you're willing to be gone, though, Showtime, let's get this show on the road, I think is what they said on their ads, right? Is on their trucks and stuff. But hey, it'd probably be better than trying to pick up general freight. You totally know where you're going. You don't have to worry about backhauls or whatever. So it'd be another interesting way to do trucking, for sure. Make sure you're logging your time doing the videos. That is considered work. Only compensated work outside of there. So it depends on how that works. Because you don't get paid right away for that. So I don't know about that. Edgar, thanks a lot. Thanks for being here. Everybody, really. That's their name. That's an incredible name, Panzer Jim. I want to take a check from a place like that to the bank and tell them to cash it and have them look at it. It's just incredible. The White Knight, 400 miles. That's depends what it pays a mile, right? You see yellow Freight Max CH13s. They don't run them up here. Don't have older trucks. They're not brand new trucks here, but they're not running any CH13 Max. Holy mackerel. Yeah, it was going to work for them, and they do concerts. Right. Let's get this show on the road. So concerts, Broadway shows, whatever. I think it's a different kind of way to truck. You know where you're going, and no waiting on a load. Presumably, you're going to get paid a salary there. That's what I assume. I never called them. But I think you get a salary because you can't get that many miles. So, because if you sit at a show for 3 days, right, cannot get any miles. It's got to be a salary job, but I never looked into it. So if the salary's good, it could be $1 a mile, right? It depends how many miles you get. Do I have lots of log trucks where I live? No. This is a city, sir. No logging trucks. Barely any trees. No better feeling letting a truck in front of you gives her the hazards lights. Yeah. And hey, let's stop with the bright light flashing, all right? That's enough of that. And I was happy Thursday morning when I was fueling, nobody had their headlights on. And the truck stop was still 90% full. Didn't people not get home for Thanksgiving? No BS on the Finkel 4. It's an amazing name. Come on. That's got to be some guy's name who started the company in 1917. His name was Fred Finkel 4. And he goes, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to put my name on the truck. And that's how it's been ever since. That's just great. They run day cabs and hot seat every truck. Decent hourly. Hey, hourly pay, getting paid for all your time, right? So well worth it. Is it the law that you cannot truck then go home and work elsewhere? You cannot work a second job or compensated work. Work is considered employment. So you can work a second job. No, it isn't illegal to work another job. Just that you would have to log it on duty time. That is correct. There's a lot of money for single people. Yes, Al, if you're single in 21, go get in a truck, don't have an apartment, only have a cell phone, and live in the truck for 6 years and save all your money. You'll change your entire life. That's what I should have done, and many of us probably should have done, but didn't do. And I'm saying it now to people that think it's a good idea and also won't do it. But I do think it's a great idea. Have I ever been an owner-operator? Not an owner-operator here. Chances of a driver with new experience getting hired as a tanker? Absolutely. TriMac showed that they took, which I just had out a few weeks ago, their tankers. They'll train you. I wish to transport fuel, and I don't know if you can get a fuel. Call it around. You know, you're going to need to get trained in it first. But yeah, is there a chance? Yes. Yes. It isn't a hopeless, like, oh, you can't do that. No. I think so. I think it may be a little harder to do it. You only see Finkel 4 in Milton, New Jersey. I guess it was like what I said in the last stream. They probably run Max down here. Yeah. Well, I don't know, because of climate. Maybe they just happen to have them there and you kept them. Artemy Finkel's the 4. It's the most amazing name. Does anybody not love that name? I love it. I want to work there just to get a check from that place. Tankers are easy. Yeah, Roderick, look, it's not complicated, and you're not going to sit at a dock getting unloaded. There's places here. Liquid Transport has a terminal here. They hire all the time. So, yeah, I think it's possible to do. And you're going to love that tanker when it gets windy out. What do you think about that? Stevens hires tankers. Yes, they run the oil field, Stevens, and it actually looks like a pretty good job. Hard to believe, right, that we ever said that about Stevens. That's what you did. No wife or kids, still live at home with your parents and when you're not on the road. That's great. And just save your money. By 26, I don't know how old you are, but if somebody did that for 5 years and saved, just say $500 a week, that's 125 grand. Okay, you know what that means? Used Bentley. That's correct. Do I know much about Wayne Trucking? No. I know just as much about them as Finkelfor, except they have a better name. Most tanker jobs hauling fuel require a year. I think yes, I totally agree. That's why I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm not saying that they're just going to walk in and give you a job. But I do think it's worth calling around, especially if they need somebody and you're there. You work for Shim Shram Logistics, correct? I want that check too. Stephen transports water in the oil fields. Excellent. They're running ads. If you look at Midland Odessa Craigslist, Stevens has an ad down there for $1,800 a week hauling a tanker around the oil fields. Milton is their main office. They have a terminal in Roanoke. Your stepfather spent the last couple of years running from Roanoke. They are a single person owner. Yeah, it's got to be Fred Finkelstein. Finkelfor, right? What is my opinion of Ozark? I haven't looked into Ozark. Finkelfi is Einhorn. It's just the most amazing name. I mean, come on. Roman Ortiz, hello. Thank you for popping in today. Have I ever heard of Blackhawk? Blackhawk Industries? Ben Dover Trucking? I have not heard of Ben Dover Trucking. Very clever. Schneider bulk cars from school. Yeah, Schneider will take you on to anything you want, for sure. Ever get down to Arkansas? I'll take her. That's nice. Bring on the Shim Shram. I totally agree with that. Right. John McCain is here again from the grave. John McCain was with us on Thanksgiving, and we're appreciating him coming in from the great beyond as he does on the live stream today. You work for Quality Carriers. All right. They're offering a $12,000 sign-on bonus. How long does it take to get to 12 grand? That's interesting. And how do you get it? How do they pay it out? That's more than US Express, which is 10, which is the most I've ever seen. So how do you get the 12, and how long does it take? You'll say Truck helped out disaster relief. Yeah, they do that to get their name out there. You know, and that's good of them to help out for sure. That doesn't give them a pass on, not treating drivers properly. But absolutely, that's good for them to help out. We got to give them the good props too. Brian, we'll let that go in Texas for sure. Prime does have tankers. Oh, poor John McStain. He's here from the great beyond. I'm sure he's mellowed out now. Roderick, 3, 6, 9. So they split 12,000 over 1 year. 3,000 each time. That's pretty good for going to public school for me. But really, seriously, 3,000 every 3, that's basically $1,000 a month they give you. I love that, to get it over 1 year. So for sure, before each 3-month period, you're not going to quit. I mean, that really boosts that one. The next year after that, on the second year, you're going to feel like you got a huge pay cut after you got all these gigantic extra checks. What do you haul there as well for that kind of bonus? At Quality, and how often are you gone? Everything. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I've heard Ozark is good, but over the road. Yeah, Ozark is a road carrier, like all these other places. Not as big of a company, but they may have dedicated stuff as well. A lot of these large places have dedicated stuff that they don't advertise. So well worth calling them if that's something that you want. Where do I search oil field jobs? Plan on going out there after Christmas. No kids. All right, go right now to Craigslist from Midland, Texas. There's tons of them listed there. Tons of them, and just start calling places. You saw a 379 lease to JB Hunt. Yeah, I think if you, as long as it meets their criteria, they'll take it year or whatever. I don't know who'd lease on to JB Hunt. Ozark is a low ball paying company. That's possible. Snyder pays a 12,000 sign-on bonus also. Wow. So it takes a year. Oh, see, so they give you a little bit up front and they backload it. 20% of it in 30 days, though. That's pretty good. Yeah, go on Craigslist for Midland, Texas, and look for the jobs there. Midland, Odessa, Texas. That's where they are listed, and there's tons of oil field jobs, including Stevens, which probably is not a bad job at $1,800 a week, although they're low even there. I've seen, places there paying 21, 2,200 plus housing. You'd have to look more into it, but that's what they're advertising for down there, and that is serious money. You need some kind of sand card and a couple of OSHA things, but a lot of the companies said they can get you the training before you show up. So apparently you can do that training online. There's a couple of OSHA trainings you have to do. They're probably not complicated. And they're probably useless, but needed to get the job, right? So at the terminal at Baton Rouge, 2 to 4 days out hauling oil products. Not bad. And that is a huge sign-on bonus, right? If I ever heard of Wolding, yes. I've heard of H.O. Wolding. They're not that large of a place, right? You do byway search Texas. Yeah, I would search Midland for the oil field. There's also jobs in North Dakota in the oil field as well, if you don't mind it being 300 degrees below zero for the next 5 months. Those jobs, I don't know if they pay more. I'm just suggesting they should pay more. A few weeks ago, you saw an 80s Freightliner. Yikes. An 80s Freightliner. You should take some pictures of this stuff so we can get them up here. Sometimes the oil field jobs go down there. Apparently there's a lot of layoffs. You're in, you're out. Yes, for sure. But if you make 2,200 a week for 6 months and something happened, you're way ahead of where you would have been had you not done that. And then you can either stay at a different place or go home, whatever you want to do, especially since you're not paying anything for housing. Almost all the places show housing. When you're at a red light next to a truck with loud pipes, you roll your windows down. You like trucks too much. There's medication for that, for sure. You'd like to see a video on Wolfpack Transport. They have hardly anything online. I looked on their website, it's like nearly, hardly anything. And if a company can't even put a website up, I don't know what to say. Stevens will keep you going? Yeah. In the oil fields, maybe they will. Your friend gave up his authority to lease onto JB Hunt? Man, he said it pays less, but his bills are less. That's the problem. Every time you take a step back, so that's correct. They do all the plate and everything and put it on for you. And so it doesn't cost you as much. And then they take a cut of the pay. That's correct. But then they go find all the loads and everything else. So you don't have any problem with it like that. You haul airspace. Pay us 50 cents. That'd be great. Yeah, we all wish. Right. Schneider's paying your schooling. We have to drive for a year. Pros and cons. Well, if you're already in it, you have no choice. Okay, you already signed up for it. Do they have a non-compete as well? And you can leave it before that year. You just still owe the school, no matter what they've told you. I recently did a video about that because I'm getting a lot of people complaining about these schools and stuff are telling you that, oh, if you quit, they'll come and take your license and they'll have your CDL suspended. That is not true. Okay, that is not true. And I'm waiting for somebody to send me something in writing. And I noticed no one has this in writing. No one will put it in writing because it isn't true. It just isn't true. So you can always leave and go somewhere else if you don't like it. But if you're already in it, you're in it. And besides, if they pay your school, you did get your school for free. It's like getting a, $6,000 sign-on bonus for that year because you'd have to pay, $3,000 to $6,000. If you're not in it, then no. But if you're already in it, you're there already. Let's see. You drive for River Bend Nursery. Has to be the smallest carrier in the world. Well, that'd be one truck, right? One driver. Okay, it is you. 3 owners and 2 box truck drivers. You love your job. Need one more A driver. Even they need a driver. But I think a small place like that, which may suit your needs, right, wouldn't have the benefits that I would be looking for in a company, I don't think. Because they don't have a large enough place to get in to give a lot of benefits. It depends what you need. They'll accept totally green drivers and train. Yes. Get the year in and go wherever. You're already there. Get your year and everything's paid. Make sure you get it signed off on that you don't owe any money and you're all set. Schneider keeps the OTR driver mostly up north for bulk. Hard to drive in the mountain range. All right. 80 cents and somebody can call you. 80 cents as a company driver and somebody can call you for sure. They have their own load board at JB Hunt. Do they let you pick every load that you want? So are they running an open load board? Like I've seen like Landstar, really, where every load is available, or do they give you only certain loads? If you can pick from every load they have and you know the pay up front and everything, it's almost like they're trying to compete with Landstar, who allows you to choose any load you want. And when you don't want to work, you just choose a load that goes back to your house and you don't have to worry about it anymore. When you're ready to leave, you just leave the house and head back out. I really like the way that it works there. So if they're doing it like that, that's probably great. What are the rates too? If they're showing $1.10 or whatever, that isn't great. Let's just say a 90s model W900, yikes. Because it had the Aerodyne sleeper. Oh, super great. That's super great. An Aerodyne 90s W900. I don't know how people make money with that. That truck cannot get, any kind of fuel mileage. So I guess maybe if it's paid off, you could make the money on it. I think you could almost save the money on fuel by buying a new truck, depending on what the difference in fuel mileage between the two trucks are. If you're getting in the 5s and you got up into the 8s, that would pay for the new truck. The difference in fuel would pay so you could have a truck with a warranty and you wouldn't have to worry. Because that's always my biggest concern. You have some kind of huge breakdown in a 20-year-old truck, and that's a problem. Because earlier, a person here had an engine problem and it nearly bankrupted them. It's really something to consider when you run a super old truck like that. If you don't have $10,000 set aside, plus the time that it takes you to get the truck fixed, you've got a real problem. Joshua the Tanker, okay. Well, you do get demerits for being late. I keep track of that. Sorry, but thank you for coming in anyway. What's the deal with guys running stretch frames? They want to look great and it rides better, but there goes your fuel mileage because you got to tighten the two units up as tight as it's possible to get the best fuel mileage. Okay, so it's an open platform like Landstar, JB Hunt. So all we need to do then is find the rates. If the rates are good, that's not a bad deal. There was a 94 Kenworth with a flat top and coffin sleeper for sale. You are welcome to purchase that and start your own company as soon as possible. None of us want to run that anymore, unless you're home down there. I guess you could run to Savannah and back and be home every day, maybe. Stretch frames can't turn. That's correct. They ride better. No turn, no fuel mileage. Do I talk about what good pays for CDLB drivers? You're running East Coast 1800 at 42 cents. I'll tell you this. You're getting more in a B truck than I've seen places start drivers than an A truck. So think about that. I don't know if 42 cents is good on the East Coast. I think East Coast you should probably be paid hourly. Probably. But if you get enough miles, that's what, $800 a week, $1,800 in a B truck. That's more than some places start A drivers. YouTuber Brotherman Trucker has a 90s W900 Aerodyne. That's awesome. Does he make any money doing that? You can't get any fuel mileage. It's not getting any fuel mileage. It's got to be paid for. JB Hunt told me they pay 65% of the load. So we need to know, what does a load pay? 65% of $1 is not great. 65% of $3.50 is wonderful. So it depends. I'd love to look at their load board then. Before I leased on there, I'd want to see the load board and see what's available right now to give you an example of what you're going to be able to make. And if they won't show it to you, that's a huge problem. 26,000 for an engine. Oh, all right. Including time off. All right, I was a little low. I was thinking maybe, I guess, a junkyarder. Plus you need to, pay for your time off. The truck still has a payment or whatever. That's a huge risk to take. You should be making way more than a company driver. And certainly leasing from a company you won't. What if I run a stretch Cascadia, which I've never seen, right? Would you still get crap mileage? Yeah. Anytime you stretch those out, your fuel mileage goes down. The trailer and truck need to be as tight as possible together. And I've never seen anybody stretch a Cascadia. Edgar says percentage pay is a ripoff. I'm not a fan of it. Okay, I'm not a fan because I don't know what they're really getting. I don't know what they're really getting for their mileage. So, unless you see the numbers, it can be a problem. What if they get $1 and you get 65%? That's not a great pay. And how much do you get while you're empty on percentage? What's the time on doing away with the 30-minute break? Okay, Thomas says, right. There's what's his face, Martinez, I always forget his name, is supposed to announce in January, sometime in January, what they're going to do about doing away with the break and considering the adding 3 hours and all the other things that they were considering, the split sleeper. He said they're going to make an announcement in January. So as soon as they have that out, I'll of course be out with it. But I'm anticipating it going away, though he hasn't called me about it. 15 can get you a mid-2000s for 15 grand. Okay? I'm still not into it because I still think you got a tough problem making what a company driver makes at the end of the year, including benefits. The company mechanic says he'll make more money than those companies, the DEF Cascadia. Yeah, what we've had on the DEF, like I said, my truck hasn't had problems, but we've had a couple of them where the entire DEF system has had to be replaced. Now, they've been replaced under warranty. These are 18s. But the trucks are still down. It doesn't hurt a large place. They just give you a different truck to drive. But if that's your truck, that's a problem. Uber drivers make more money than truckers in a week. I don't think so. I doubt that. You see where Brotherman trucker drives a Kenworth and has a video where he says they laugh at him for leasing an older truck. He has a tough time putting the truck on, for sure. Did he lease that truck from somewhere? Or do you mean he's leased on to somebody? There's no way anybody leased him a 90s truck. What do I know about Riverside Transport? Not anything. Here's what's going on at your company. You get paid per run and percentage, but it never adds up. Then, if I can't trust them, that's a problem. My pay's got to be correct. If you get percentage, go in there and ask to see the freight sheets, right? The rate confirmations. I want to see it because I want to know that I'm getting paid properly. 70-hour clock restrictions if police officers who actually make life can run an unlimited clock. I agree. But my other question to you is, how many hours a week do you need to work to make a living? They work a lot. I agree. Do we need to work 100 hours a week to make a living? Okay, you can get that as a backup truck. All right. Can I do a video on Martin? Yeah, Indianapolis. I get a lot of requests from Martin. I should do Martin. You're at a trucking school and having trouble with your 90-degree dock. We have 48-foot trailers. Why would they do that? With tandems all the way back. What's my biggest piece of advice? Literally, for that, practice. We do bagging class here. It's practice. And they should have 53-foot trailers. That's what you're going to drive. So, the school should have for you available what you're driving. That bothers me a little bit. Okay, he's leased on with a company that has it. Kenworth Road, yes. The Cascadia, mine hasn't, but we've had I would say half of the new ones that we got had problems, which is horrible. I agree. You've heard Martin is good. Yeah, I've heard that about their detention pays automatically, $20 an hour. You lease time with quality, no complaints. You make $3,000 to $4,000 a week. Yeah, as long as the thing is, you have to be honest. We have to be able to trust each other on this percentage thing. So I want to see if I ask for the numbers, they should give me the numbers. So, and if they won't, I'm finished because I know something scammy is going on, right? So if I ask, they should give them to you, and I want to know that everybody's being upfront about it, and everybody, everybody just needs to be upfront on percentage. And what do you get when you run an empty if you're on percentage? That's my question. Unless you're never empty. You may never be empty. What do I know about Cliff Weisman Trucking? I never heard of that place. Ever been an owner-operator? No owner-operator here. Cascadia rides rough. I like my Cascadia. You started a T680 that rode like a Cadillac, but this Cascadia, you have an Evolution. I have the new bodied Cascadia. It rides like a go-kart. Turn radius is worth it. The new one with the LED lights rides great. You're going to love it. Buy yourself a toy truck and practice on the floor. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe, actually that might be. I'm right about percentage. You worked regional for Aero. How did that go over for you? At Aero Trucking, and were you somebody had to be picked up? My bullet percentage law says the company has to show you the invoices. Yes. The company only has to show owner-operators, though, as I looked up. They don't actually have to show company drivers by law their rate sheets. Although, I'll tell you this. If I was getting paid from it and I wanted to see it and they wouldn't show it to me, that's a problem. That would be a problem. You love your 2018 Cascadia. Look, just as I say almost every week, it's worth it just for the lights. But between this and an Evolution is a huge difference in the truck. This one should be called Evolution 2 or something like that. Your pay was 26% and went from 1,000 a week to 500. On percentage, your pay can go down, even though you're running the same miles, because the rates go down. It can also go up. The other side of it is you could run the same miles and your pay goes way up. It's more volatile. When you get mileage pay, it's worth the same. You get the same rate. So it's something to consider. Do you want to take the risk of down to have the risk of up? For sure. You're an Uber driver, nice, and make more than a lot of truck drivers, but no benefits. Okay, I'd like to see that 3,500 gross from 100 hours. Well, it depends on your city, because I will tell you I've been signed up for Uber for probably 4.5 years here. So although I don't do much on it, driving, but I'm still on the 80% on it. So I know about Uber and been on there for many years, and nobody around here makes anywhere close to that. So it depends on what city you are in. But that'd be an interesting thing. MarketTruckingAnswersNation.com. You can send a screenshot of that, and you can block out whatever you don't want. I'd love to see 1 week of that. Plus, part of it is bonuses and stuff, which we don't get here for Uber. This is now Uber talk. But they'll have a $25 an hour. They'll run here sometimes in games, or do so many runs and get an extra 50. So it depends. If you're getting those kind of things, it can work out. It depends where you are, a rideshare person. Here, you don't make any $35 an hour here. I'll tell you that right now. Why don't trucking manufacturers make 3 and 4 spoke steering wheels? They make the cheapest thing they can make. The less spokes, the less money you get. Watch Jimmy Cox videos. Never heard of those. All right. Can I wave the flag around for us? Hey, the flag sits there and waves, in the breeze of the room. You work percentage and never got paid for empty. And right. And so that's a problem. I guess you have to figure out total miles and divide it. How much is it a mile then that you're getting, right? National carriers are number 1. That's excellent. Why? Give us 2 reasons why they're the best place. Peterbilt and Kenworth will custom build a truck for you? Yes. If you want, even have the money. You don't have a work history for the last 10 years. That's a problem. From what I read, companies want a work history. They're required to have a work history by law. What are my chances for getting into a good company? Well, were you unemployed? I mean, it depends what you were doing. You had to have been doing something. You weren't just born. So if you were in another country, that works. They want to know what you were doing, and they're required to collect that information by law, so they don't have any choice. So it depends what you were doing. Were you in jail? I mean, if that's where you were, then that's something. Can they verify where you were? That's what they're looking for. Yours is a 2016. It rides rough. You got an Evolution. I like them. So I'm just a fan of them. I guess people are against me, but I'm a fan of them. So they pay you deadhead when you're empty. Yeah, if it's enough money, you get a flat rate when you're empty then, per mile. You pull Uber Freight and it pays well. They offer owner-operators health insurance. They do. It's not as cheap as if you got it at a large company. Because it's the total amount that you spend at the end of the week versus then you get to keep some at home, right? You're the guy that would get a monster drop-down visor. Good, congratulations. I won't be able to see you in there. You attained your EMT at that time as a stay-at-home dad. Nice. Freightliners used to be known for rattling. Well, look, over time, they don't hold together as well as some trucks. Some of our Evolutions here are 3 or 4 years old, and they're kind of rattly. I'll give you that. So, and the buttons are falling off of them, and one of the visors is broken off. So they don't hold up over time the way a better put together truck is. That's in fact the case. So they're freight shakers for a reason. They're still freight shakers for a reason. I think part of it is the way it's taken care of by the company, and just part of it is the way that it's put together by the company that makes the truck, for sure. Uber Freight good? Yeah, who was just on Uber Freight? Let's talk about that. Is the Evolution the same as a Cascadia? There's a Cascadia Evolution, and then there's a new Cascadia. So those are two totally different trucks. Totally different bodies. He has you have somebody with an International 9400 that still runs tight. That's probably put together better than these new trucks. Is that 2 square headlights on that one then? Remind you to never buy a Freightliner? Well, new, they're great. I've been driving 2 years. That's a long time. A lot of people quit in their first year, okay? So don't think like that isn't much time. You stayed through your first year, you got it. It's a career for you now. You can't leave, by the way. You're not allowed to leave. We'll come and find you, put you back in a truck. National carriers care for their drivers, plus get you home when you want, which is excellent. So much better than Stevens. Well, yeah, everything's going to be better than Stevens, right? But for sure. You get every rate con. You should. If they're paying you off of it, they should show it to you. Really, they should include it in your check or somehow get it to you every week. Freightliners have good engines. You can get whatever kind of engine you want in there, right? Freightliners are mass-produced. That's why they're cheap. Well, all these companies are mass-produced trucks. Is it true that Peterbilts tend to... No, people just keep them longer. Freightliners go to fleets, so the truck has 73 drivers, and it's first $500,000, and they just fall apart. Pete's and that are not as common on those, so for sure. Cummins are good regardless. We'll go with that. I like my Detroit. Okay, so Uber, you have to know the pattern. You have a specific area you want to go and take your time. Yeah, it would be just like anything. I totally agree. What are the rates? What's some kind of Uber freight rates right now coming out of, wherever you are or some city? That's interesting to see on here. Is it better than the rates in the area, or is it lower like kind of Uber, the car service, where the rate's half the cab rate to get business? But they have a problem because they won't get someone to pull their freight for a low enough amount. The last company you worked for had a Columbia with 880,000. Man, we don't keep them anywhere near that long. You'll take a DD15 over an ISX. The last Cummins I had was probably a red top N14 Cummins in an FLD 120, which was a great engine, 435, but that was some time ago. They've changed over to Detroit's, and that's where they're sticking here. You're not quitting on driving? Yeah, good, and you're quite welcome. That's good, because we don't want to have to go find you. But you made the first year. That's when everybody quits. And a lot of it is the companies. Let's be honest with it. It's the companies mistreat people, and then they leave the whole industry, and it's a shame, because that's the way, that's just too bad. It doesn't have to be like that. Your Cascadia has 3/4. Man. You like the N14? Yeah, mine was a red top N14, which literally had a red top. Black engine with a red top. Very good engine. Detroit's are the best. They seem to be the best for me for fuel mileage. His Pete probably had a Packard. Yikes. You want your truck to be loud, you can hear it a mile away. That just means that you'll get a lot of tickets. And so as long as you don't mind paying tickets, you can make it super loud. A lot of cities just sit around and they'd love to write you a ticket, and then you go in the scale and they can give you a ticket. There's tons of places where you'll get a ticket. Can you smoke weed now since it's legal? No, I did a video about this early last year probably about that. The federal government says no. So my policy here will be no, and I'll continue to maintain that here. Even though people say yes on here, I'll say no to that. LED lights do not melt the snow. That is correct. In that last snowstorm, which was a couple of weeks ago now, when I came through that, the whole front of the truck was just covered with ice. It was basically an ice storm, including over the headlights. And they were just basically making a white glow. They weren't giving a pattern anymore. I wish they would solve that. They do not melt snow or ice at all. Not at all. They're not hot to the touch. They're not even warm. So you're correct. They do not melt ice and snow. Cats will be the best. Yeah, they're done for. Do I recommend a lease operator? No. I don't recommend leasing or, as I say, renting a truck from a company. I think it's a waste of money, and I don't think at the end of the year a lease operator can take home any more than a company driver after benefits, because you don't get any benefits. All the risk is yours. The truck breaks down, you fix it. There's no freight, you're out of luck. Whatever it is, it's your risk. You don't have health insurance, you pay for everything. But at the end of the year, you don't get any more benefit. You don't make any more money, it doesn't seem like. So no, I'm not a fan of it at all. You drove a Pete with a PACCAR, they're not efficient and have problems. Yeah, the PACCAR engine just turned out not to be great. Most stoplights are LED, that's correct. And we've come out here many years. I've lived in Indiana my whole life. And when they change over to LED lights, you can't see them. You just got to kind of guess which light, because one will be packed with snow because that's the way the snow is blowing. Totally agree. The Detroit in the Freightliner is great with the Detroit Transport. We haven't eaten ours. The T680 broke down. The Evo's been great. Yeah. You know, over time they get rattly, but when they're new, it's been really good. Fast pay Uber load at a certain rate. That's the rate you get. They don't take percentage. Oh, for now, that's good. 2 to 3 per mile is really good on freight. I mean, who's going to complain about $3 a mile? Everybody could make money at that, right? Do I have any MHC truck centers? Not around here. The biggest truck place would be Indianapolis, of course. And there's a gigantic Freightliner dealer. Stoops is down there. He has a small place up here. There's an international dealer in Lafayette. He's lucky if he has one semi there, though, ever. Uber's $10.99. So you have tax impact? Yes, you do. That's right. You get to write stuff off. Ruth, thanks for coming in today. Thank you for stopping by. My truck has a loose nut behind the wheel. Your mechanic can't fix it? That's sweet. Isn't that what they're supposed to do? I love going in there and they're like, oh, we can't fix it. I'm like, isn't this your job to fix this stuff? I can't fix it. Are you late for the rest year? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah. What they're doing in Kansas, I'll go over this for you, is the Kansas DOT, and I only know about Kansas because they wrote an article about it over the weekend. They've hired a bunch of retired DOT officers to go in the rest areas and find owner-operators and older trucks and bust people for basically form and manner violations mainly. Because they know they're not keeping, many of them have a paper log, and many of them are not doing their electronic logs correctly. And it turns out Kansas is writing a bunch more tickets, they said. They love the program. They're going to keep it rolling because it's all about safety when they bust somebody for not signing their name on a paper log or something. That's safety. That's all safety. But so what I'm warning owner-operators and people with older trucks is Kansas is looking for you in rest areas, and they said they're going in rest areas. Now, they're not supposed to wake you up when you're sleeping, and I agree with that. But the problem is, so you pull in and park and walk into the bathroom, and they come over and go, hey, we're going to do a paperwork inspection. Let me show you paperwork. Well, what if you are still driving on your log? Now you have a violation, correct? Because you are not current to your last change of duty status, which is now on duty for walking in. I said it again. On duty for walking into the rest area, especially with a rest area. Come on, it's funny, come on. But seriously, right. And so they're getting a bunch of violations, and they're up 20 to 30% over the states around them. So be careful with an old truck or as an owner-operator going into a rest area in Kansas. They're looking for tiny violations just to make money. And they brought all these people back to do it. Colorado Supreme Court ruled your employer can terminate you if you fail a test for marijuana. Yes. Oh, yeah, right. Because it's federal. It's federal license. You can't do the stuff. You can't smoke it. 1090 you can write off almost everything. You have a problem writing food off. You have to be away from your home to write off food. But maintenance and gas, you're better off taking the straight mileage. It depends what we're talking about here. But food, it depends. The Freightliner you use has a DD13 and the engine. That's a smaller one, but our DD15s have had no problems. You should get even greater mileage. Does spraying WD-40 on your lights solve the problem? The dude says. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not spraying WD-40 on those. They're plastic. The plastic covers, I don't see how that can do them any good. Over time, that's got to fog them. We suggested on the Thanksgiving Day live extravaganza that Rain-X would be the thing to put on there. And wax them, which you should do anyway. But don't spray WD-40 on plastic. I wouldn't be a fan of that. That's what I think. I'm not putting it on no plastic. They're flimsy, too. They're really flimsy. There's an MHC dealer where you live. You're in a larger city, right? I'm in a small town here, comparatively. People are saying yes on the WD-40. I'm going against the grain, and I'm not spraying that on the plastic. It's just a plastic cover over the LED thing. I'm not spraying it on there. Use cardboard and duct tape. Stops your... Yeah, you got to fold pieces of paper and stick it everywhere and tape them up. Yeah, I agree. Keeps them from icing up in the old days. Yeah, the old days, because your headlights were glass. So they're not glass anymore. If you still have a glass, you're still changing a square or round glass bulb, maybe you could spray it on that. I wouldn't put it on the plastic. No way. I'll stick with Rain-X. Used to work at Nissan dealer. Rattle kit was pieces of foam and rubber. That's great for Nissan. That's why we don't buy Nissans here. WD-40 will ruin your plastic. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't use it. Send the headlights of pause to clear than clear coat. Yes. There's no way I would... there's no way I'd WD-40 it. I'm still afraid. You saw something about LED traffic lights with heaters installed them to melt. Oh, nice. Would that be reasonable due to headlights? Volvo already does it. The Volvo LED headlights have heaters on them because I guess from where they're from, up near ABBA and everything, right? Because the Volvo is the dancing queen. And so they heat their headlights in their cars. In their cars, not in their trucks. But they're heated in the cars to melt snow off of them. Why they don't do it, it's just always been beyond me. They're just now installing windshield wiper heaters in trucks from the factory. Why hasn't this been a thing for 1,000 years? Cars have them. Cars have them, but they just put them in trucks. So it's beyond me, but Volvo cars have them. I didn't know they're putting them in the red lights. They should do that as well. And the truck should have them also. It ices right away. There's no heat to it at all. No heat to it at all. This is our local A meeting. Yes, I appreciate that. You're not a fan of plastic. That's what's on there. And it's super, look, I went to bang on it, took the ice off it. It's flimsy, man. It's flimsy. Thought I was going to crack it. Volvo engines have sensor problems. They come and go. I mean, I don't drive one, so the mechanics hate them. They say it's harder to get parts for the Volvo engines, so I don't know about that. WD-40 works on grease and road tar. Yeah, you can take that kind of stuff off. Yes. I wouldn't put on my headlights. Volvo with the Cummins? Right, because we don't have that Volvo engine in there. Because you had issues with a single PACCAR. You have a PACCAR part, Pete, and because you haven't had any PACCAR problems. Okay, that's good. Its older headlights are already yellow. WD-40 will shine them up. Yikes. You have to apply it every 2 weeks. There's a headlight cleaning kit, which is like $20. You can also clean them with like Pearl Drops toothpaste. Look, there's tons of people that have videos out about how to clean your yellow headlights. I recommend you go watch one and clean your lights so you can see for sure. Get them cleaned up. You don't want them yellow at all. Get them clean, get them clear. I don't have a video up about it, but there are tons of people that do have one up. What's wrong with the yellow headlight? You can't see. That's what's wrong with the yellow headlights. They fog up, you can't see. Why don't trucks have spotlights? I maybe only have had 1 or 2 trucks with a spotlight. Why don't they have them? Because you mess around and shine them in the woods and everything. So they don't put them on because drivers like me shine them all over the place. My husband has a good company of the week for you. Okay, good. Tri-State out of Joplin. If I want driver info, I don't have any way to contact you through here, so you'll have to email me, mark at truckinganswersnation.com, because all I have is your name on there. So, yeah, send me some info about it. What's up with that? Put on here one reason why you think they're a great place to work. What is a JB speaker or a JR speaker? They're $265 a pair. I don't know. I have no idea. Your Buds International has a spotlight on a fleet truck. You see them occasionally, but they're not like they used to be on there. I like them for finding trailer numbers. That truck I had trailer numbers. You could shine it over there and you could see all the trailer numbers better. So I like it better that way. But, without it, I just have a flashlight that I point out at the trailers to find the numbers. You could shine them back at people who flash their brights. That is a good use of it as well. You can also shine it across the highway at people that have their brights on. So that surprises people. Edgar's heard Tri-State is good. I have never heard anything bad about the place. So, yeah. Do I load or unload? No way. It's a driver here, man. They got people that do that for you. What do I think about people driving in flip-flops? I don't think drivers drive in flip-flops. I think non-drivers drive in flip-flops. You should have shoes on. I mean, is that really a thing? I know it. I see people do it. I see people do it in the winter. You should have shoes on, a shirt with sleeves, and pants. Okay, that's what I say. You're a driver, you're professional. Now, you don't have to come in a tuxedo, but can you put shoes on, for crying out loud? Who would want to walk across the fuel island in flip-flops anyway? Or in mud, or anything else? The flip-flops, it's crazy. Yeah, flip-flops are uncomfortable in any circumstance. Yeah, who wears them anyway? Why are people wearing them at work? I mean, you're here to work, we're not on vacation. That's what I tell people. So I think you should have a shirt and shoes on, for crying out loud, or no service. And some places say that, right? When you walk in, shirt and shoes, closed-toed shoes. Coming in flip-flops, what do you think this is? This is not vacation. Flip-flops catch on the pedals. They're unsafe. I agree with that. They're just unseemly. They're unsightly. You're not a professional. Professionals don't go to work in flip-flops. Flip-flops are uncomfortable. Yeah, why would you want to wear all that padding on them? You only had $3 for shoes, so that's what you had to put on, I guess. Your husband is driving since 1990. He says it's the best company. All right. Has he been there since 1999? That's pretty good. That's a lot of time. Flip-flops are for shower use only. Yeah. Leave them in the shower. Agree. It's being called professional. Yes. Wear shoes. Look like you know what you're doing, not like you just got off whatever beach, sandy beach. Let's see. You're an addict. Oh, I appreciate that, Jared. That's nice. You're always wearing steel-toed shoes. Nice. Gym shorts and a tank top. Well, you're halfway there, I'd say. I think men should wear, and women really, should wear sleeves. At least short sleeves. Because look, and nobody wants to see our armpits, okay? So I'm for shirts. When you're at work, we're a professional. So that's what I say about it. I think would look kind of silly working steel-toed shoes and a tank top. JB speaker is a headlight. I never heard of it. Don't lots of shippers, receivers have dress codes? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some of them have a sign, although I don't know if they enforce it. If you don't have to go on the dock. A lot of people won't let you on the dock in flip-flops, for sure. You're not getting out on the dock. They're like, where are you going? Were you on vacation? Go put some shoes on. And do you want to walk across the fuel island? You know what is out there. In flip-flops. You're always wearing steel-toed boots? Yeah, for your job, right? You have to, probably. Was JW speaker high-end headlights? I've never seen it. I know that a lot of people change their lights out, and it's very aggravating. You need to change the entire reflector and everything. So I don't know what that is exactly. You've been waiting at the TA for a new drive tire since 9 a.m. What is going on? It's depends where you are. It's at least noon. Why don't we have this tire on here? They better be paying you for breakdown. Steel-toed Skechers. Oh, steel-toed sneakers. Oh, all right. Rated $75. Yeah, so then they still look like sneakers. Flip flops should only be worn in the shower. Yes, I agree. That's where your $2 on shoes should be spent. Sir England is hiring local trainers. Yes. Loaded trucker. Ironically, I posted that on my Facebook page about a week ago, I guess now. The ad for England, and I was very disappointed that you can be a trainer at their truck school and not have any experience. Very disappointing. And that's up in the Gary area up there. They call it Lake Station or whatever. Very disappointing. You hardly need any experience, and you can work in their truck school. Training people that have never driven. That goes right along with their whole issue. They can't even get people to work as trainers there. That's how bad of a place it is. Flip-flops are worn by a particular group of drivers. I don't know what that means. And that's where I'll leave that. I'll be inclined to wear the ones with steel in the sole for nails. That's a good idea, too. A friend of mine put a nail through his foot. Yeah, there should be some kind of anti-puncture and anti-slip. You know, they require all that. Some places they require it. They give us money for steel-toed shoes every year here. And they have to be anti-slip and steel-toed, you know, OSHA approved and all that stuff. But they pay us for them, and so give you $100. So if you pay more than that, you pay the difference. So you get a $130 pair of shoes, you end up paying $30. Not bad. Oh, thank you very much, Edgar. I appreciate that. I try to. Thursday is my favorite day of the week here. Flip-flops are part of reefer driver's summer work. Yeah, if you're in a reefer, I mean, you need a winter coat year-round. I cannot imagine going in the dock, loading up ice cream at 10 below zero, and you're in your flip-flops. How does that make any sense? You want a trainer who knows how to drive? Yes, exactly. That's what we're saying. England will put you as a trainer at their truck school with 8 months, and then you could get in a trainer truck with another guy that's got 8 months experience. It's ridiculous. And then people quit, and then they wonder, oh, well, there must be a driver shortage. No. There's no shortage. James bought new steel toes that look like running shoes. That's pretty good. You think Sarah England has reached a new low? They can't go any lower. Once you're at the bottom, you can't go lower. Yeah, so you still have these running shoes, and so you still get toe protection, whatever. Adco, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not even real shoes will stop a nail. Well, there's times when you're not going to get a nail, where you get a nail. But let's look. Flip-flops won't even stop a rock. And nobody wants to see your big toe that curves the wrong way. It's all yellow and all. And nobody wants to see that, okay? Get that in those shoes where your toes are all going in different directions like this. Nobody wants to see that. Shoes on. Tennessee paid for your school and your boots. Oh, nice. So they're paying for your boots, too. That's pretty good. Your company pays for your boots. Yeah, okay, so you probably be like me. I get a $100 coupon, basically, every year. And if there's more, I have to pay the difference. So you go get a new pair every year. So I wear them at work, of course. They're required to be slip resistant here as well. They hit bottom, they ask for a shovel. That's what England, they're like, how can we go even lower? Well, we can have people with no experience train right at our schools. The people with flip-flops have a tire roll over their foot one day. Well, I don't know if a steel-toed shoe would stop a tire. Even so, it's totally gross. You want to beat somebody at the buffet with a flip-flops and a tank top? No. Those companies in Salt Lake are related to each other. Salt Lake and El Paso, for some reason, are like a sinkhole of bad places. They all get together and they go, we'll all go in one place. You know, they take their break here. Oh, this is where we'll stop and set up. They plant their flag, and this is where they are. And El Paso is also a sinkhole of low-paying companies. I don't know why it's just concentrated like that. Also, the state of Iowa seems to attract a bunch of companies, at least with places for drop yards or whatever, where they can just have their low pay. It doesn't make any sense at all. Adco, you're out of Salt Lake City. Well, there are good places there too, but you know, your big place in your area is England, which is not far from you wherever you are in Salt Lake City. They're the big employer out there for trucking, and their Salt Lake City terminal is always voted the worst barracks in the country because you sleep in a barracks there instead of a motel. And according to England, when I call them, they don't feed you there. Although they do feed you if you're at one of their schools somewhere else, like up here in Gary. They do provide food and you're at a motel there, although you'll get a roommate. So you get to enjoy meeting a new people and experience different people from different places around the country. Someone you might not have otherwise been able to meet. You've heard pride is good. What do you hear about pride that makes pride good to let the rest of us know? What have you heard about pride? Sounds like CRST with the barracks. Yes, same kind of thing. They put so many people through, they build their own building that you get to stay in. And so it's cleaned regularly, I'm sure. Now CRST is 3 to a room, and they turn the TV off at 10 at night from what I understand. I don't exactly know about the situation at England. I think it's 2, but either way. And I know that at CRST they also do these checks for booze, where they come through your room and check the booze situation, which I love. Let's see. Okay, chat is kind of big today. Everybody has been back at work, and we have a nice large group of people here. Good idea to buy a safety vest when you become a trucker. Yeah, right. Because some shippers and receivers require. Yeah, you should go get yourself a vest. Just for the fact that they'll usually let you use a vest. But I'll tell you this. You don't want to use the vest they give you. You don't know where that vest has been. For, $8, $10, $12, go get your own safety vest and put your name on it, and you can wear your own. And Brian, hard hat. That is a very good point. Buy your own hard hat that you have. Do you want them to hand you a hard hat? That, hey, you can put this on your head. It probably doesn't have any kind of fleas in it. You do not want that. You probably won't get lice with it. Bring your own hard hat. They're a very small investment. Oh, very good. Safety goggles. Bring your own hard hat, safety vest, and protective eyewear that you have with you that you can wear that are yours. You do not want to use the ones that they allow you to wear. You don't know who last had those on. That person with the flip-flops was the last person to wear them, and you don't want that. 8 per room in Salt Lake City. That's crazy. 4 sets of bunk beds? Pride is England? Well, there you go. If an England student quits, he has to pay back the school with interest, right, which means more of the company. That's correct, but you do agree to it. So I always tell people, if you agree to it, you do have to pay it back. You agreed to it, pay it back. Sierra England does not provide food in Salt Lake City. That's correct. Oh, complimentary donuts. That's nice. They do say that outside of Salt Lake, they do provide food because it's like an outside place. That's what they say. So presumably in Gary, they would feed you. That's what they say, 2 meals a day. It's bad how some companies pay drivers with 1099. Yes, you're misclassified if you're 1099 and you're driving someone else's truck. You are an employee and you're being misclassified. Lots of oil field requires PPE. Yeah, they may have special PPE that you have to wear in a specific job. However, an over-the-road person, hard hat, safety glasses, vest, just keep it in your truck. Believe me, they're going to hand you one and you're not going to want to wear it. Bring your own stuff. Or bring your own RID. RID, what is that? Haven't had kids here for a while. Somebody's got kids that got the letter from school with the lice. And and that little bitty comb, right. Carriers like Walmart require you to wear a uniform. Some carriers require a uniform. You don't see it that often. And if they give you a uniform, you might want to wear it. It's their clothes. Get them dirty, right? What about Prime? Not a fan of Prime. They do have a barracks in Missouri, right, as well. Every terminal should have food. They should feed you since they're the one bringing you there for 3-4 weeks. Your tri-pack has had problems on your Evolution. That isn't any good. Hopefully they let you run the truck. If they'll let you run it, I'll tell them, look, it doesn't work. I'm going to run the truck till you fix it. That's the solution to that. Pride is related to England. Marty says bring a broom. Yes. Drivers should have a broom as well. I would hang the broom in the back on the, we had 2 mounts, both sides of the truck, right? And each one held 4 load locks, and I would put one spot for the broom in there. So that's how I would do the broom program. And you should always have a broom with you so that you can sweep out, right? Absolutely. You never know when you'll need a broom. No cotton gloves in the oil fields? How come? Burning? Oh, not protective of the oil, right? So you need petroleum specific resistant gloves. Okay, he owns Pride as part of the England. Oh, so it's one of those incestuous things where this guy owns this other company. Yeah, there's a lot of this going around here. Oh, static. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, and you would also need chemical gloves. That's very good. So rubber lined for oil. So that's a specific thing there in the oil field, right? Sweep out for free. Yeah, sweeping is going to be done on your time. Electric blower, Black and Decker. I've seen people with that, but then you get the big cloud behind the truck, right? Where do you do that? Where do you sweep all that out? Or do a reverse sweep. Who has not done that? I've done a reverse sweep many times so that you sweep everything to the front, and then at the next place, it looks clean. They only look in the back of it, looks clean, and they load you. So I call that a reverse because you don't want to just sweep all that garbage on the ground, depending, because, it might not have been swept out for the last 10 loads. So as long as there was no food in it, you could sweep it reverse. I've done that many times. Cotton gloves create static. So that's super interesting. But they're the fabric of our lives, though. What about that? There's never any talk about that. What about big cotton? How are they going to make their money? Most mega carriers pay less. Yes, they take advantage of students. They totally take advantage of students. I find it very difficult to find a place that is not really taking advantage of students. It's sad. Am I getting snow? Yes, I'm getting some slight snow here. Nothing heavy, and it was supposed to end at 2:15, so I guess that didn't happen. Don't forget garbage bags. Don't be one of them guys throwing out the back of the trailer. Yes. Nail puller. Oh, yeah, a hammer would work, or nail puller. And if you're going to sweep out the back of the trailer, you should bag it up and throw it into a garbage bag, or do a reverse sweep, like I was suggesting earlier. Sweep it to the front, and then at least it's out of the way for the next load. That's another option if you have nowhere to put it. Cotton hurts Christopher Cross royalties. Why would it hurt Christopher Cross if he's sailing away? I mean, I don't know about that. If he's sailing, you can use cotton while you're sailing, I think. I don't think it hurts Christopher Cross. There's got to be something in that I'm missing. I'm about to go get my Christopher Cross, Best of Christopher Cross CD, and check that out. He did the cotton commercials back in the day? Really? Okay, I don't remember that. That's certainly possible. So Christopher Cross, I'll bet that's on YouTube. Somebody's probably put that up on YouTube. But a nail puller, you could also get one of those ones that looks like a pry bar nail puller. That pulls nails better than a hammer, too. So that's a good idea as well to have with you. But this PPE stuff, that's something Mark doesn't know. There's lots of things I don't know. I don't say that, I know everything for sure. No way. I'm not 100% on anything. Just putting out what little bit I have acquired over the years. So by the way, all these things that you buy would be tax deductible if you itemize at the end of the year. Don't forget that. Anything you buy for work, of course, which you should check with your tax professional, as they say, would be tax deductible. So a vest, a hard hat, and all that, that's all tax deductible. If you have to buy your own boots, anything related to work can be tax deductible at the end of the year that your company doesn't pay for. Have I looked into becoming an owner-operator? Why don't become an owner-operator? It's too much risk for not enough money. So I don't think that, they do a lot better than a good company driver that gets a lot of benefits. And you have a huge amount of risk. When the truck breaks down, you've got a lot of risk. I like not having to worry about that kind of thing. Where if the truck doesn't start, I just call them up and they bring me another one or do whatever. It's their truck. I don't want to have to worry about it. Don't owner-operators have more freedom? Not really, because they have to pay for their truck. I probably have more freedom. I can quit here and go work somewhere else tomorrow and not have to worry about the truck. I was off 4 days for the holiday. 2 of them were paid days. An owner operator, they're not paid anything. All that, but they still have all of their expenses. I think a company driver probably has more freedom than an owner operator. They may have more freedom at work, but I have more freedom in my life, and that's what matters. Harbor Freight tools are weak. Harbor Freight tools are cheap. Super cheap tools for sure. There's one across the street from me. Garbage tools, right? Cheap. I don't know if I'd buy one, but if you can find a Sears that is still open, you can probably go get some good tools there. If the one near you hasn't closed yet, it will soon. It might be the place to go get some Craftsman's if there's one around you that's still open. You looked into becoming an owner operator and it has a lot of risk. Yes, you're risking your whole life for a little bit more money, maybe more money. But if you had to buy benefits, go look and see how much insurance is. Go price health insurance on the open market and see what you're going to pay for that. And then tell me if you want to become an owner operator. Does the tax deduction equal dollar for dollar, or does it give you 30 cents? No, on this kind of purchase, you can tax deduct it straight. So say $10 vest, $10 vest you put on there. It's not like the per diem used to be. This is a straight business, unreimbursed work expense that you can take off your taxes. Check with your tax professional. But you just take it straight off, add them up. You have to itemize. So if you don't itemize at the end of the year, it doesn't make any difference anyway. You're not itemizing. Lowe's sells Craftsman made by Stanley. What the heck? Pride was started by Jeff England. Trucks are spec'd the same as Sears England. That might not be bad. They have Western Stars over there. Sears closed. Yeah, the Sears closed here last summer. Although they sent stuff, we're still open online. You can still get stuff. So I guess you could theoretically order the stuff online. What's my opinion on driving a small carrier that's leased with a mega carrier? I think that's too many people in between. The more people in between you and where the money starts, the less money comes to you. Your boss pays $900 a month, so your family has insurance. You pay $300. Right? So if you bought your own truck, that's very good. You'd pay the whole $1,200. That's a huge difference. And so there goes a lot of the extra money. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the year, an owner-operator or lease company would have to add up all the benefits a good company driver gets. Like they'll have to take 5 weeks off this year, including getting paid themselves and all their expenses, because I get 5 weeks off, and pay all their insurance. They'll have to provide health insurance and dental and all that. At the end of the year, after they pay all that, do they make more money with the risk that they take? Probably not. I would say probably not. Maybe. I'd be surprised to see it if they added up every benefit that a company driver gets, like paid holidays, all these paid holidays and stuff. They don't get any of that. It's a big risk. You'd have to get $3-4 a mile, I think, before it made any sense to do it because of the risk. Sears is going the way of Kmart. Yeah, the Kmart closed earlier than Sears here, but they both closed. They're both gone. Porter Cape, they're not spec'd the same. Okay, so the Western, I happened to see a Western Star for England and thought, man, this place is stepping it up. They must have reduced pay another dime to get these nice trucks. You see sentries pulling containers? Yikes. You must be the sinkhole of old trucks down there. Night Rider trucker, what's happening, sir? A little bit of snow going on out here? What if your wife has insurance? That's great. I mean, and that's something else to consider, right? So your wife has insurance. Okay. So you wouldn't have to buy insurance. Ironically, as I posted, we talked about Uber, and the person I see just emailed me their statement, which I'll look at later. They're from San Francisco. Okay, so making money in San Francisco, what's rent there? If you're still on here. We have to consider that too. So you make $30 an hour there. That's no money in San Francisco. Comparatively. Everything is a comparison. So, that's why we don't make $30 an hour here. They don't make, so really that isn't any kind of money. But if your wife has insurance, you won't need the insurance. So that, we consider that. You still got to take days off. So now add up vacation, add up whatever other benefits that you might get, and decide maybe it's okay. I think Sears was something we're going to read about in history books? Yes. They're almost done already. They're a couple more years, they're finished. Next up on the block then will be J.B. Hunt. They're offering you $1,400 nice to do 2 round trips to Denver out of DFW. Well, how many miles total are you getting for 2 round trips a week, and how often will you be home? And really, $1,400, that's nothing to sneeze at. Uber is only good in high volume, small areas. Yeah, because you don't want to be cruising over to get people. I agree. I've been on the platform for years. I'm still on the old pay system with them. They changed that years ago. I'm still on the 80%. People started 75%. So I've been on there. I don't bring that up here, but I've been on Uber for many, many years. Do I remember Blockbuster? Sure. It was right here. It's a Halloween store right now. It's empty for Christmas. That's $10.99 pay. Yeah, all owners would be 10. Oh, 10. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. $1,400. I'm out because you're a company driver. They're misclassifying you as an owner operator, independent. You're not. You're an employee there, and I don't like all the tax problems that brings. So for me, I'm out. You're a W-2 there. Surplus store is good for militia gear. Yes, there was an Army Navy store in Hammond I used to go to all the time. Loved getting stuff in that place. Got a Rambo knife in there that I still have somewhere. There's still a Blockbuster in Bend. Yes, that's it though. They're basically gone. Who rents videotapes? Remember those? It's not easy to do too much round trips. Not at this time of year, certainly. Yeah, and they're with me on the 1099. You're being misclassified. They're only saving them money. You are an employee. So for me, no. I'm out of that. You're welcome for the advice. So very seriously consider that. Redbox is struggling. Yeah, who rents things like that? Have people not heard you don't have to go anywhere to do this stuff? You can have things just sent right into your house now. You don't have to go. There's a Redbox at Kroger here that I see people going into all the time. Do you remember Laserdiscs? Heck yeah, man. I had Top Gun on Laserdisc. It was on 2 discs because it was a long movie and because of the data couldn't hold on the disc. So in the middle of the movie, you'd have to stop and then change discs. Love it. That was how you watched movies. But that was better than it used to be, right? Roku's worked. There, a lot of people use Roku, right? Do I still go to movie theaters? Yes. I will only go to an IMAX since I got spoiled on them. I think it's well worth it. It's only really a few extra dollars here to go to IMAX. Well worth it. That doesn't do with trucking, but when you're off trucking, only go to the IMAX. Beta versus VHS. I never got into the beta. Always was VHS here. When I was gone, it would be gone then for a while over the road, and the wife would record all my shows for me on tapes and write it down, and then I would be able to come home and watch the shows that I would watch. Doing it better, Frito-Lay. We have a Frito-Lay in Frankfort, Indiana, not 12 miles from me here. I've looked into it because they run ads. I've called them, and I'm not a fan of them because you start out, at least here at this one, you start out as an on-call driver. And this is what they told me. We can call you anytime after you've had 10 hours off, and you can come in to run a run, and you might have to be overnight, and if you don't come in, you're fired, and you may not get a run for a couple of years. That's what they said here at this Frito-Lay. So you get off at noon, they can call you at 10 p.m. to come back in, and then you run overnight, and then you might be off the next day and run at night. You might run days, 2 days after that. You might be off a day. You never know what day it's going to be. And they said until you get a run, that's how they use it here. So I'm not a fan just of the schedule. It may pay good. That kind of schedule is really tough on you. And you can die from that kind of thing. Never knowing when you're going to work. Never having a schedule, maybe for years at a time. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. I don't like the way that they're doing stuff like that. Let's see, kid. You're from the DFW area. There's plenty of jobs in that area. Can I do a video on Hub Group? Yeah, I think they're kind of more local though, right? Each place is different. Still own cassettes. I still have a VHS player, but I don't, it's not hooked up. Military use beta. Awesome. If I didn't go into trucking, what would I consider? I wanted to go into this space field. People don't know that about me, right? I've done a lot of work in physics, believe it or not, right? I've done all the physics books over here at college at the library that are from Purdue. I've gone through most of them just as a thing that I do on the side. So I really love that. And as you all know, I've talked about Star Trek. I was a huge fan. It taught me a lot about science. And that's probably what I would have done, worked at NASA, of all things. But never didn't want to go to college, so just didn't happen. Huh. Just emailed your pay. Truck drivers are underpaid. Yes, I agree. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I saw that it came up, and I also saw that you're from San Francisco. So your pay at San Francisco at that kind of pay is considerably more than would be necessary here in mid-Indiana. And I think you get a lot more ride share there. It's a lot harder there to own a car than it is here. So part of it is local. I think you would admit part of it is local where you are. How much should a over-tier company driver take home? It depends. What do you want, right? There's no set pay to take home. You should take home a good amount of money and be treated like a professional that pays your bills and where you feel like I'm getting paid a good amount for the work that I do, right? But it shouldn't be any $10 an hour or anything like that. Should be a good amount of money depending on where you live. Like we're talking here, San Francisco versus here. I can make a lot less money here than somebody in San Francisco and have a lot better life. So part of it is depending on where you live. It doesn't cost hardly anything to live here in Indiana. Your 13-letter a spreader engine is trash. Well, of course, the engine is not a Freightliner engine. International took a huge swing. Okay, International, right? What am I thinking about? So you have the Max engine, right? The International engine, where I can't think of it at the moment. Power Max? What am I talking about? And they were all junk on our trucks, right? So they didn't do us any good either. What am I thinking? What is the International engine name? What do I think about speed governors? Don't like them. You should be able to go the speed limit in the state that you're in because you hold everybody up. Yeah, I wouldn't do it for that, for sure. Max Force, that's it, right. So Max Force, right, we're garbage. Ours had to regen. We had all these regen problems with them. We'd regen them every week. Some of the drivers were regenning 2 times a day. Just ridiculous. So, no way. Right, I totally agree. They're junk. You laugh at ads offering CDL drivers $12 an hour. Yeah, that's what they pay at Target. Forget that. Can you all move in? You're welcome to share the second bedroom here. Do I have any opinions about paper transport? They run ads here saying how great they are and anything, but I've never looked into them. They have a local job here, but it pays 45 cents a mile, and the miles vary. That's what it says. Snowplow or salt truck seasonal. Yeah, they're hiring here if you're from the area. The Indiana Department of Transportation wants you to drive their salt trucks. So if you have a CDLB and with air brakes, they will train you how to drive their salt truck. You have to be on call because you only come out when it snows, and you can come and drive for them. Paper transport is probably bad. I don't know that much about them, really, other than I saw that they run ads here. What do I think about the FCC? You get the FCC has YouTube ads? Oh, Fremont Carrier, something like that. It's not the FCC running ads, right? I haven't got any ads from that place, or really from the FCC. Presumably they'll shut me down at some point, so I'm not sure about that. But I haven't gotten any ads for FCC. I seem to get a lot of ads for Yellow or other places. It just seems to vary. You never know. It depends the last thing you watched and what you're watching. They really target that stuff to you. Is that the name of the truck? Yeah, I think Fremont Carrier Corporation, isn't that them? CFI, yeah, they're out of Joplin. I've never done anything about them either. They're another large carrier, though. You know, I'm always a little leery about those. What do I think about the 17-hour workday? Stopping the clock? I've been not a fan of it. First I thought, yeah, it'd be okay. But then I really thought about it. I thought, no. You know, I don't want to add 3 hours to my day without being paid. I just don't. So, no. I'm not a fan of it. Companies will try to use it against you also, make you do stuff. You know they will. And otherwise, not really a fan of adding time to my day that is unpaid. 14 hours a day should be plenty of time to make a living. And I know people say so we can stop, so there's traffic or whatever. I just don't like adding time to the day that isn't paid. It's hard enough to get paid already for the time that you work as it is. And then to try to add 3 more hours to it, I'm not a fan of it. I did initially think it was a good idea, but no, I don't think so. I don't want to add the day with no pay. I'm trying to get people paid. If people got paid for all the time they already work, they wouldn't want to add 3 more hours to their day, really, because you'd already get paid. There's so many hours we already don't get paid for. Let's try to get paid for those hours first. Flower power trucking? Yeah, it sounds like it'd be bad. It sounds like 60s company, man. You get loads of Stevens tanker, they want you to come down there. Search for FCC on a trucker's report. That's interesting. That's a good place to look for stuff, too. The 17-hour clock is okay if you want to take a nap. I just don't want companies to say, well, you've got this 3-hour thing. You know they'll say it. Oh, you've got 3 extra hours. What about doing when a large privately owned fleet like Napa, something like that, would work out good? It would have to be a large fleet that hires from all over. Taylor has a $10,000 bonus. Man, a lot of these places are up to over 5 digits now on the sign-on. That's pretty good. Like the Eaton, yeah, many of us running Eatons out here. Max Force is the worst engine so far. I haven't had ones with any more problems than that. They're horrible. What's the best way to get a mega carrier to pay you for all time? Lawsuit, not going to go anywhere because you're exempt from overtime and minimum wage. How would one go about starting it? So that you're not going to get the lawsuit, probably. There's a couple attorneys trying it. So I would Google those up first and add yourself into their already started place. And all the time that I don't get paid for, I think every driver should file with their state for unpaid wages. All you'll be able to get is minimum wage because that's all the state can enforce unless you have a contract. But I think that people should file for unpaid wages. The company has to answer it or they'll be ordered to pay it. So they have a certain amount of time to answer it. And I think if states were overwhelmed with, hundreds to thousands of complaints about this, that could possibly change something. But otherwise, there's not a lot you can do until we change the Fair Labor Standards Act so that truck drivers are not exempt from overtime or minimum wage. That's how they do it. We're exempt. Since 37, I think that was implemented in 1937, we've been exempt from it. It's just ridiculous. It should change, but I don't know how else there is to change it other than overwhelming the states with complaints. Half of the news on Truckers Report is how drivingless trucks will take. That's not going to happen. Right? Decades. Don't worry about trucks taking your job. A truck is not going to take our job. None of us will live to see that day. ELD is about protecting drivers from their own companies. Yeah, that's great too. Don't ever forget that it stops your company from making you run over hours like they used to. You can just take it in there. No, you can't. 7-Eleven is replacing Service Plazas. They're replacing the Service Plaza Sunoco. So how am I going to get my Slurpee? Door Foods nationwide carrier. Never heard of Door Foods. You've been looking for a job in Dallas, and most companies pay $39 to $43. Oh, why is the pay? Yeah, maybe the El Paso effect is leaning over there. You could get on with a carrier that's not based in Dallas. That just goes through Dallas. Can the company retaliate against you? They're probably not allowed to legally, but can they? Yeah, probably. They probably could fire you or whatever. And then it would be up to you to file another form with some other agency to 3 years from now get your job back. So could they retaliate? Yes, probably. Are they allowed to? Probably not. They're probably not allowed to retaliate. I think that could be a lawsuit. A retaliatory, firing. But that still would take a lot of time and you'd have to find somebody willing to do it. And it could be years before any outcome of it. It's a risk. Look, I'm not saying it isn't a risk. But until you take action, nothing will happen, for sure. Posting stuff on the Truckers Report is not going to make companies change their ways. We have to go to them, take action, aggravate them where they are. You only have 11 to 14 hours a day to work. You should be compensated. Drivers should be compensated for all of our work time. right? All driving time, all on duty time should be paid. That's like that at any other job. Everywhere you go, you punch a clock and you get paid for all day. You don't just get paid for, 3 hours of it isn't paid. It's crazy that people tolerate it. Why do we tolerate it all these years, right? We should need to speak up and get it changed immediately. Drivers should not have to work without being paid. Nobody should. You'd imagine there's a lawsuit. Yes, it would be, but it takes a long time for that to get through the courts, for sure. 2001, we were at 50 cents. Yeah, there's been some raises, but some people were doing good back then. Frito-Lay has drop deck vans. That's correct. I see tons of them here. You've been looking at companies hiring in Dallas. You know who else is down there? Frito-Lay, we just mentioned. They pay 50, 60 cents. That's good. Frito-Lay's headquarters is in Dallas. Forward Air is starting their drivers at $205 a day. That's interesting. Plus benefits, but don't know how many hours you'd be working. Well, if that's a floor, that'd be better than a salary. So at least if you had to sit somewhere, you got at least a couple of $100. Unlike some people, if they sit, might not get anything, like U.S. Express. So that would be better than nothing if it was a floor. If it's a salary, it can't be for more than 5 days, and it can't be any 650 miles a day. Okay, DOT foods. All right, yeah, that's different. DOT foods, yes, absolutely. Jay Cannell used to drive for Werner. I didn't know that. And he was in New York. And his GPS told him to go down a road that said new trucks. That's not unusual. That's not just him doing it. That's everybody. GPS, don't follow it 100%. You'll be down the wrong road. The Frito-Lay drop yards there's nowhere to park. It's all their trailers. They make you unhook. I'll call you 40 hours later. See, that's where you need a floor. That's a perfect example of what I always talk about, a guarantee. And I've seen places 1,000, 1,100 guarantee, and people say that's no money. That's money if you sit somewhere 40 hours and you've gotten $200 or $300, then it's money. Because there are people sitting there for that time that don't get anything. So a floor at least stops this kind of problem where you're sitting 40 hours. But 205 salary, that's not as great as it was. I'm a new driver. One of those just happy to have a job, guys. Well, that's all right. I think for helping out, you're being taken advantage of. Well, it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. I hope that, you'll get a job where you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of, really. And that's the thing is companies do that because they know new people. They don't know necessarily that it doesn't have to be the way that they're being paid. And so they take advantage, and it's bad. And I try to expose it and do what I can. And hopefully everybody else does the same thing. Eventually it ends that way. Eventually. I'm glad I'm able to help a little bit. Happened to KB, the trucker, too. GPS not correct. People shouldn't 100% follow GPS. They should have already looked at their route. They should have already satellite viewed their route, which I do as well. If it's a new place, I'll satellite view the building. Because their address may not be the truck entrance. Could be on a different road. So I want to see where is the truck entrance in advance on there. So it's the third driveway. No, I have to turn right on the street before them and go on the left. It's super helpful. All that should be done in advance. You don't show up somewhere and then try to follow the GPS. All the route planning is done before you get there. Can I look in a hub group? Yeah, I'd like to look into hub group. It seems to pay different at every location. Call this dispatch, tell them what to. Why would you call your dispatch and ask them, tell them what to do? My GPS wants me to go down a road. Dispatch them to take the road. You don't call your dispatch. That's not their ticket. That's for you to decide. If you got to call your dispatch, you're not ready to be on your own yet. Some roads will be weight limit, but no way of telling if you've never been there. That's correct. So call the place. You should call the place as well. I mean, that's all part of trip planning, right? Call them in advance. How do I get there? Now we can satellite view the place, which we couldn't do before. So now I know what they said. Does it match with the satellite view that I'm looking at? All right. Now I know how to get there exactly. I mean, with the technology, it can be great or it cannot be. But you don't just blindly, certainly, we don't just turn it on and blindly follow it and hoping it gets you. You can't do that. You got to all still trip plan. You like the Max Force 13? Yikes. I don't. I'm no fan of it at all. When you were a new driver, you were getting hosed, 2 years experience, and your life changed. Yeah, once you get some experience and you realize and you can make either the changes you need, or make your company change to fit what you want. But people shouldn't have to tolerate that even from their first day. You shouldn't have to tolerate not getting paid. They wouldn't do it to you at Burger King. As we talked about earlier, they can't do it to you here. You wouldn't tolerate your kids having that happen to them at their first job. Never would you tolerate it. You'd be in there immediately to try to get it paid. He did it, and there were low arches, so he pulled over. Cop pulled up. It happens, right? And got out of there. But you should trip plan your stuff in advance. In advance. Can that happen? Absolutely. But following the GPS, bad idea. It's an assistant. It isn't your guide. He went off on the dispatcher. Why? He called the dispatcher. You called somebody that doesn't have any idea about how to drive, asking them how to get somewhere they've never been. That's not a good plan. Let trainees know that if a trainer told them to sleep in the top bunk, not to listen. It is against the law. Yes. Can't sleep in the top bunk if the truck is moving. Okay, so I don't care what the trainer says. No sleeping in the top bunk. You should be able to work an 8-hour day, make a living, and not have to kill yourself. 14 hours is a long day, for sure. 14 hours makes for a really long day. But this over 14, where we want 3 extra hours, I'm not in for that. How many hours do we want to work? It's too easy to see things on Google Images that are in your path. Yes. So we can know what's coming from directions and everything. You know what driveway to go in. It helps a lot, but it's not 100%. Nothing's 100%. You're the professional. You got to decide. My video, yeah, I think the video is back moving again. Why don't they make truck? They have tons of truck GPSs, for sure. Right? There's all kinds of them, but I still wouldn't follow a truck GPS 100%. I wouldn't follow any of them 100%. No, I haven't seen a black dog, whatever that is. That froze. Anyway, look, it's 3:47, so I do have to get out of here for work today, which should be fun in the snow. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate you coming in every Monday. And every holiday, including Christmas. We're going to get out on Christmas no matter what anybody says. So there'll be at least some kind of live show on Christmas Day as well. But I have to head out to work. So I want to thank everybody for coming. And write to me, mark@truckinganswersnation.com, with all of your missives, any contracts, whatever you want to send. I read everything that I get. So let me know what you want to do. And don't forget to watch Jay tomorrow at 8 p.m. at Central, of course, on Auto Transport Intel. I always try to give Jay a little thumbs up over there. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Greg, for being here. Ivona, Rogers here. Thank you, Kevin. And so as I head out, be safe in the snow. I see it snowing out here. And I hope to see you all next week. And there'll be more videos this week, all right? So thanks for being there and for being out here at Trucking Answers. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.